Okay.
Good. All right, good morning. Welcome everyone to our April 16th police jury meeting. Miss Allie, could we have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Stewart,
Here.
Mr. Stevens,
Here.
Mr. Ruffin,
Here.
Mr. Bison,
Here.
Mr. Taylor,
Here.
Mr. Garcia,
Here.
Mr. Spobodo,
Here.
Mr. Ramirez,
Here.
and Mr. Byrd.
Here.
Mr. President, all 9 members of the jury are present. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ruffin, would you lead us in prayer and Bison for pledge, please?
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come and serve. We thank you for the many blessings that you bestowed upon us. We pray that you would forgive us for our shortcomings and build us up where we're weak. Father, thank you for all the things that you've done for this parish and the police jury as we try to serve the constituents that in our district. We pray that you have a special blessing on the national, state, and local government. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Okay. Need to amend the agenda. Yes. I have a amendment with Sabine Parish EMS Advisory Board. Mr. Danny Asbell, we're gonna add that as 10A. And what was it, 20?
22A.
And then I have a 22, I see here, got a 22A, is declared 1996 Mack RD 690S dump truck, D45 is surplus and approved sales through govdeals.com. So we're gonna add that as 22A. Any other amendments? All right. Do we have any public comments on the amendments?
Mr. President, I think the Bruces are here to discuss item number 21. Is this the time to do this?
That's on the amendment. We're on the public comments on the amendments, right?
We on the
Oh, I'm
amendment.
sorry.
You do it in public comments. Y'all cover that in public comment.
Okay.
A little further down.
I make a motion we adopt the agenda as amended.
I second.
Motion by Ruffin, second by Bison. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Adopt.
Huh?
We need to adopt the
All
agenda.
right, now let's adopt the agenda.
Make that motion.
Got a motion
Second.
by Bo, second by, is that Bruce? All in favor? All opposed? All right. All right, item 7, Mr. Ruffin, would like to make a public comment.
Thank you, President. I'd like to take this time to officially thank the jurors and Sabine Parish Police Jury for the support, all of my friends that are here, the support that you afforded me in the death of my wife. Most of you are aware that Glory was here with us. As a matter of fact, I remember on one of our trips, she said that she should be the juror. She's the one that does all the paperwork and everything. She was with us all the time we were here. And I want all of you to understand, this jury actually showed out in support of me during this time. The jury's not the only one, but the sheriff department and the town of Manny and the parish, you've done a fantastic job, and I want you to know publicly that I thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. All good.
All right. We have, Scotty Carline to speak on item 21. Is that correct? Yes, go ahead.
Public comment.
Yeah, public comment. Yes, Alvin.
One of the things that I wanted to make a comment on was that I'm all over this parish, from one end to the other. And, I called Bobby the other day. They had, came in on, Archie Leach Lane and blacktopped that road on there and stuff. And I've been noticing that I've been seeing a lot of roads tore up, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing them blacktopped and everything. And what I noticed was that whenever the parish started getting their own equipment, where we could do our own blacktopping, it's like we're getting more, better roads. It's taking time to get to that point, and I understand it's gonna be a slow process, but yet we're getting the roads that I've always desired for our parish and everything. Cause I believe in blacktop roads and stuff, and I'm so glad to see that our parish has stepped up and stepped out to buy this equipment or rent it, however you're doing that equipment and everything. But to see that we have this and we're just gradually getting our roads into conditions that I believe that our tax dollars is going in and everything. And I'm very appreciative of you guys choosing to make the choice to buy that equipment and to do our roads the way that you're doing and everything throughout our parish. And I just want to thank Bobby for that and everything, because I call and when I make complaints to him and everything and stuff, and maybe I need to go to my police chairman, but Bobby and I just knew him from working with the city and stuff and working with him there. And so I would call him and he'd listen to my complaints and everything. But whenever I seen things being done on my road that was good, I would always call him and tell him and everything. Or I would see my police chairman out working on the roads and stuff. And one of the things that I want to make mention of that they did that has totally changed, where our road used to flood all the time on Gohagen Road, there's a slough right there before you get to my house. And where that slough is, the police, one of the guys that worked for the police jury, he came out there and did change the culvert out, but he ended up putting another culvert a little bit higher up. I know that sounds funny that he put that higher up on the road, but when he did, ever since he did that, that road hasn't flooded again. Not one time since he's done that. And that's been, what, maybe 4 years, maybe now? 4 or 5 years since he's done that. And so where it used to flood all the time, now we don't have that flooding anymore. And so we can now get across there without worrying about, going underwater and stuff in our vehicles and stuff. And again, I'm just so appreciative of y'all taking the time and spending the money that needs to be spent fixing culverts, fixing roads, cleaning ditches, bush hogging the sides of the roads and things like that and everything. And I just say thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Gloria Bruce on item 21.
I'm here for my roads too. It's
Okay.
well, they must stop at Scotty's house because I live further on down and it ain't nothing being done. We have to beg him, we have to beg Bobby, we have to constantly, it's 8 months. We got text messages, I got pictures, I can tell you all kinds of stuff, and I don't appreciate the way he talks to me when I try and talk to him outside of this meeting. My daughter and my grandbaby's on these roads, and when they get washed out into a creek or something, because we're begging for somebody to do something with our roads, there's no ditches. I mean, we don't get nothing done. They come grade our roads the day before it's gonna rain. No, don't come back and put rock on it. I'm slipping and sliding all over it and stuff in 4-wheel drive, and I'm sick of it. I'm constantly to the tire shop. I done put air suspension on my Lincoln twice. I'm just tired of it. And when I talk to him, I just get laughed at in my face, or I get told stupid stuff. And I'm not the type that you're gonna talk to me like that. I'm not asking for blacktop. I live in the country. I expect a little dust. I expect a little mud, but I expect to be able to get in and out of there.
8 months ago, I reported a culvert being damaged
It's
by
big
the
bad
fiber
for
optic people. 8 months ago, water still running across the road there, washing the road out.
what did we do? We came in and put a big load of rock across that, the cover's still damaged. Log trucks are damaging the road, not turning on Pump Station Road coming off over in Middle Creek. You got hog walls down through there by the creek.
And we talked to
Miller.
Bruce, his hands is tied, he can't do nothing, he says. I mean, why are we paying a police juryman to represent us? When I have to pick up the phone and call Bobby potentially, I should be able to pick up the phone and call Bruce, and then Bruce is supposed to have our back on our district. We put you in office to cover us. And it seems like it's not getting done. I mean, you're taking care of certain areas, but you ain't taking care of our area.
On Gohagen Road, to date this year, we spent $30,500 on rock.
Okay?
That's on 6.7 miles. Middle Creek Road, $77,950.
Pipeline people was on that road and they tore it up.
New Hope,
It's one of the supervisors.
$28,400. Pump Station, $42,200. Bay Springs, $2,200. Our maintenance cost per mile is supposed to be $3,196. And up to date, we're $7,813 per mile. And I don't know if that's the pipeline money too. But here's the work orders for those roads. I don't have time to ride them every day,
We don't ask you to ride them every day.
but
But when we call you, you tell us that you can't do nothing because it's got.
I have to go through the road
And
superintendent.
I got text messages prove that. You tell us they won't let you do nothing.
We can't. We go through him.
That's right. So why should we have you as police chairman?
That's this room in here, I guess.
Why should we pay any police chairman if we can't go to y'all and tell y'all to, when you ride our roads, to look at our roads, then you report back to him?
But police chairman's job is not to ride the roads.
Well, I
Whose
mean,
job is that?
whose job is it to, when we had Matt on our road, we could tell Matt, hey, Matt, this is happening on our roads. Matt would go to Bobby, talk to Bobby, they would eventually fix it.
Charlie Brown, God rest his soul. Call Charlie Brown, tree across the road, and he gets you out, I'll run over and do it. He comes over in his personal vehicle, uses his personal chainsaw, drag that tree out of the road.
And these creeks washing out and my grandbaby going across it, and when my grandbaby gets hurt, it's gonna be a whole totally different story.
The beaver pond over there with Grady Simmons' place, been fighting that for a year and a half now. A beaver plugging up 2 20-inch culverts.
And I got video of my husband undoing culverts because nobody else will come do it.
I don't know the answer.
I mean, I just want somebody to maintain it. I mean, it doesn't get maintained.
Do we give them these work orders?
That's our work orders that we have for those. How many
For those
different roads is for all these roads that were listed here?
And then when you put rock on it, you put some of the biggest rock on it, we busted.
The
tires,
reason
but
we're putting the big rock is that is timberland.
Yeah,
And then I talked to the road foreman this morning, and when they put the big rock, he said they've been, not all the way, but in most places, they've been capping it with 57 stone.
I don't know what 57 is.
Smaller rock.
Where all that stuff is.
They came
Somebody
down there
put a
about
teacup out.
They came down about 2 weeks ago, like you went down through there with salt and pepper.
Yeah,
A little rock.
and there's a graveyard right up the road from my house. Put a body in a hearse and come out that way. The body won't be in one piece by the time it gets to that graveyard because the rock is so damn big.
Sections of that road is washing out in the ditch.
I mean, like I said, we're not asking for perfect. We're asking to be able to get in and out of there safely. And the pipeline people, when I talked to them, they said they paid the police chief to come back and fix it. Right now on Middle Creek Road, they got marks everywhere where they messed the road up. What year are we gonna get that fixed? When we talked to Mr. Bobby, he tells us he can take the pipeline money and do whatever he wants to with it.
I don't know that that's true.
He can distribute it parish right. He does not have to.
I don't think that's true.
No,
Kenmore
no,
connection
that's not
for that.
true.
That's what I was told by Mr.
Yes.
Hughes. If they don't use that road, that money to fix our road back, they distribute that money parish-wide.
No,
That's what Mr. Hughes.
I missed it. Do what now?
the pipeline money that is for those damages on those certain roads has to be used on those certain roads for that damage.
I've refrained from speaking because of comments. I'm just watching the timer go out, and I don't know if this is time appropriate for me to speak or not.
Yeah, so Anyway,
But I think anybody in this room that's been here any length of time knows that any money that the road department collects, Hallie handles it. Any money that's collected, I send a list of the road that it's for, the amount that's for each road, whatever the collective amount is, it's broken up by what road is damaged. And that money is only spent on those roads. So, well, I don't believe I said that.
It has been in my area.
You say
Got to
stuff
be.
and then Bruce says stuff. And I'm telling you, just cause y'all don't care for each other, y'all have a problem, the people in his district is suffering about it.
I brought some information to talk about item number 21. Do we want to wait till 21? Or do we-
yes, we'll discuss it in 21 if you. Okay.
I'll make a point to come down to y'all's place today. After the
Just
meeting.
ride the roads and just check it out, see the ditches and,
Plugged up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
and then when we call about a cover to be fixed, we get a stop sign put on a hole on the cover instead of changing the cover.
All right, Mr. Bruce, you'll follow up on that. And Mr.
Yeah, and
Bobby,
I
what
do
have
want
we-
to say one thing. As a whole, we don't neglect it, personally not try to neglect anybody's road. Don't matter if they tax exempt, they paid $100,000 for their property or $50. But the guys, it's 4 men, right, on the work crew. If a tree blows down or something happens somewhere else, when they stop to put in a culvert, that stops that motor grader from blading those roads. If they're hauling rock, that's possibly that grader operator driving that dump truck. We're not like this Highway 6 crew where we got 100 extra men on every crew.
Offer more money, you might get some good quality.
Well, and the money's always the key to everything. And like I said, we're over what our budget was for $3,196 for those 5 roads. We're up to $7,813 per mile.
Bruce, there's a lot of stuff that you not saying that you tell us different than when we.
Well, you got to get the paperwork. Here's all the work
I'm
order.
talking about what comes out your mouth, which you say,
We can only do what we can do.
yeah, but you talk a mean game against the rest of them, but you ain't talking it today.
All right, well, let's move on. Mr. Bruce, if you don't mind, follow up with
I will.
Mr. Bruce and Mr. Bruce there and see if there's any way we could help them out on their road down there.
Like I said, we're not
And I know,
perfect. We live in the country.
Which Bobby's a road superintendent. He'll be the one to direct the work, if any, so y'all follow up on that,
May I
guys.
ask y'all, are y'all gonna stay for the discussion on item 21?
Who us? I got a client waiting on me right now. He's got to wait for me. Do we need to stay?
Well, I'd like to talk about what the information we brought.
We'll go into details on these roads. It's item 21, so we'll go into more detail of these roads. But, I mean, you're more than welcome to stick around and be involved, part of it, comments or whatever, so.
We want something done about the roads. All we do.
If not, I'd like to take a couple minutes now to go over it if you don't mind.
No,
If you're not gonna stay.
well, we're gonna,
We've done here.
it's on the agenda.
It's
We're on
fine.
the agenda.
Yeah.
But all right, on item, we got another Mr. Danny Asbell. You're the EMS board. You are item on the agenda, so at that time you'll speak then, or 10A, couple more down. And also we have another one here with Med Express. Is that gonna be on the same topic? Who's with Med Express?
Oh, I'm here. I didn't realize that we were on it though.
Yeah.
Are you with Mr.
Are
Asbell?
you with
Yeah,
Asbell?
I'm with Mr. Dan.
Okay, well,
Okay.
we'll cover it
We'll
then.
cover it tonight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
cover it 10A. All right, I just want to make sure we had our public comments. Everyone was, had a chance to comment on that. All right, moving on. Item 8. Is anyone here from Senator Seabog's office? They all in session. Shamahorn?
No.
Bagley? All right, Danny, you up now. Mr. Danny is with our Sabine Parish EMS Advisory Board. They give us a quarterly report of their board and their, go ahead.
So once again, I'm Danny Asbell. I'm the chair of the EMS Advisory Board for Sabine Parish. We are an active board. That is something that I think is spelling some rumors that have been around here lately. But anyway, we meet every quarter, and we did not have a meeting last quarter because we didn't have a quorum because of people working, volunteer members of the board. If they're working, we don't have a quorum, we can't have a meeting. And also, Miss Melinda has been very sick, and we had to deal with that also. But just to give y'all a quick report, and I'm gonna answer any questions y'all might have on the state of what's going on with the board right now. But we met last night, and since the board was reinstated and brought back under the new statutes or everything, we have added a third ambulance. Our Med Express has added a third ambulance to the parish. We have historically only had 2 ambulances. They added the third ambulance in Converse, which decreased our response times to an average at 30 minutes or less to overall for the each month in the parish. They've maintained that. We are in regular contact, mostly myself, with the supervisors and the administration at Med Express almost weekly. I would say almost weekly or more than every time that there is an event that happens that someone has a complaint or whatever that from the fire districts, they bring it to my attention. I talk to Med Express and we try to get those issues resolved. At our meeting last night, we voted in to start a process to take our ambulance service out for a request for proposal. And the reason why we did that is that our ambulance service in Sabine Parish has always historically been not under contract, with no accountability, no benchmarks, nothing for the service where they have requirements that they have to meet every month or every quarter or whatever, whether it be response times or anything else. And we have pretty much historically been at the mercy of the provider to whatever they wanted to provide. And we just have to try to work with them the best we can as the EMS board to try to make things better as we can. So Mr. Sepulveda had spoke to me recently and we discussed as a board last night that, you know, the only service that this parish does with an outside contractor that's not under contract that we know of has been the ambulance service. And it's like, man, this is emergency medical services. We need to have something with benchmarks and things like that. And so we actually voted as a board last night to put together, to investigate and get together what we as a parish would look like as far as the requirements that we would want out of our ambulance service. And our next meeting in July, we put a committee together to get all that together. We're going out with other contracts with other parishes around the state that they have done with ambulance services, and we're going to be referring to that, not to reinvent the wheel, if that makes sense. And then in July, we will get together and look over what the committee puts together as far as these are the things we're wanting to use as benchmarks for our parish. And then we would go out to advertise for proposals from agencies that are interested in Sabine Parish. And then in October, we're hoping to come back together and for our next meeting and finalize that process and be able to report to the police jury what we're trying to do. We would like to have something done with a contract by the end of the year to start by January the 1st. I think is a good timeline because we don't want to take anything too fast. We want to make sure that we're doing the best we can. One of the issues we have in Sabine Parish is we don't subsidize our service. You know, we're taking what we can get, you know, based on what the service provider can provide with the income they make in our parish. And so we have to work through those issues to work through that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We've done a lot in the last 2 years. We have actually instituted standardized emergency medical service protocols for all the fire departments, where it doesn't matter where you go in Sabine Parish. If you get hurt when the first responders from the fire department get there, you're going to get the same care no matter where you're at or which fire district you're in. So we have all come together and really done some good work, I think, in the last 2 years, and we're still working at it. I will be getting with, I don't know who I need to get with, maybe Mr. Sepulveda or whoever, but we have some roll-offs of the board that we need to work on getting, into the next meeting, next month.
Okay.
You know, like,
That would be with our administrative end, Mr. Weatherby, which he's not in today, but Miss Allie's our assistant.
okay, so
They,
what
they can assist
I
you.
I will get with y'all
Yes.
in the coming week or so,
Yes.
and, because one of our members has rolled off, and we're gonna replace him, but the others, we're just gonna try to I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't know exactly how that works, but we've got some things like that, just some administrative stuff we need to take care of, other than that.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? I'll be glad to answer.
Is the ambulance service, you have representatives from the ambulance service involved?
I'm here.
Okay.
We'll be very involved with the entire contracting process. We're actually gonna offer up some of the current contracts that we are dealing with other parishes as a way to kind of help y'all guide through it, help any way we can through it. We hope to maintain the contract even once y'all get it all submitted. I mean, we've been here for, I don't even really know exactly how long, but I know for the last 4 years I've been supervising here, and we have a lasting effect we'd like to keep here. So,
Does the EMS board have the authority to get into these contracts, or is that our position?
That's,
I,
go ahead,
go
Abby.
ahead, but I think they can. I mean, they're not considered a, component unit of us or anything. It's not like the library board. So I
It
think
being
they do.
parish-wide, I was wondering if that would have been, that's up to us or them.
so in other parishes, the ambulance board is the one who puts it all together for y'all, and they'll present it to y'all for y'all to make a final decision.
Yeah.
on
Come
what
through here for
is
approval.
acceptable.
And I may be mistaken on the Sabine Parish ordinance that was approved for the EMS board, but my understanding is the EMS board is, the members are appointed by the jury, but the board is an entity of itself governing the EMS of Sabine Parish, separate from the police jury. In other words, and that's my understanding, but even like that ordinance gives the EMS advisory board the ability to go out for a tax to provide for ambulance service if they wanted to, separate from the police jury, is the way that ordinance was written and approved by the jury at the time. So I was gonna get with Mr. Weatherford to find out and make sure of how that process needs to go and how we need to do that process. I will be in the police jury meetings every month, from here on out, as much as I can, to be able to give y'all reports and give y'all updates on what the process is. And I don't have a problem when we get to the point of that process. If it is something that was set up in statute to be separate from the jury, I don't have a problem bringing it to y'all and letting y'all understand and ask questions of everything that y'all do. We want your input, and we want you to be involved as much as you want to be. But that's my understanding of the way that ordinance was written when they set up the board. So we'd have to check with Mr. Weatherford.
When was this board formed? I wasn't here.
It's been
At least 3
years.
years.
It's
Been
been, well,
years.
the actual ordinance was filed many years ago, and then it came back and was reinstated and reformed under a new ordinance, changing the name and resetting up the thing. When did they do that? Like 3 years ago?
3 or 4 years ago. It was the,
It was the ambulance.
ambulance board, and now it's been restructured as the EMS advisory board, so. And like I said, I don't know about the rest of the jurors, but I get quite a few phone calls about, concerns, which I've expressed with Mr. Asbell. You know, we appreciate the service that we get. We really appreciate the third ambulance up at Converse, it's up on the north end. And I see they stay busy. They run here and run there, and we're very appreciative of our service. But on the flip side of that, I don't know about these guys, but I get calls on concerns about the transport helicopters.
Okay, meaning bad thing or good thing?
That meaning, well, at the time the accident happened, you know, they get these bills later on that they know that they can't afford.
So I completely understand that part of it. The thing that I would say with that is, so as you probably already know, locally, the hospital here local does not have a lot of the higher services. In fact, mostly it doesn't have really the trauma, the neuro, or any of the things that you would need if you was to be involved in an accident. And a lot of the accidents here is are some of the worst accidents I've seen in my 15 years of EMS, and I've worked all over. The bird is the quickest way to get them to definitive care, and with us not having diagnostic tools to be able to say, hey, look, no, you don't currently have a brain bleed, or you don't have a lacerated spleen, liver, whatever. I don't want my guys to be driving them all the way there and then they'll crash and total on the back of the truck, because that's an even bigger issue. Whereas the bird, they have blood, they have products that they can give them to treat those issues. We do try to use the birds strategically for the calls that they are truly needed on. The rough part is on emergencies, it's not always easy to tell what they're truly needed on and what they're not. So, but if there is concerns with that, I would be more than happy to give you my contact or my boss's contact, and he can go through the process with you and help y'all through any of that y'all need help with.
Well, and like I said, and I'm just relaying the calls that I get, different situations to where, they feel that it wasn't necessary to take that $50,000 helicopter ride, that they know that they're going to have to pay out the rest of their lives a little at a time. They can't, they can't. Yesterday, I was up at Union Springs. A lady had fell down off of Fisherman's Wharf, broke her arm or collarbone or whatever. Well, they landed a helicopter at Union Springs. And from the time the helicopter landed there, it was about 50 minutes. So, and I'm not a medical person by no means, but if that was my broke collarbone, I'd rather been in that ambulance going to the hospital, because they had to sit there for 50 minutes and then they flew out with them, whenever the person could already done been to the hospital. And so this lady is going to end up with a very expensive helicopter ride. That, and like I said, I don't know. I wasn't there to know exactly what her symptoms were, but she was alert. She was talking. Her collarbone was broke, from what one of the EMS guys had overheard him say it. But things like that, and then when it happens to those people, well, we hear about it.
I understand.
I had a friend of mine, he had a spell here a few months ago. Well, I want to say he was back home by dark, but months later, he got an $80,000 helicopter bill.
Whenever his wife got up to the hospital, he was discharged.
So it's things like that we hear. And, in our job, and like I said, there's nothing against your service, or we're grateful for your service, but it's issues like that we have to hear about. And our job is to, represent our people. But anyway, it's things like that if they could be, some of those could be eliminated. And I know from time to time, there's going to be severe that you need a helicopter.
Yeah.
I understand that. But
there's times whenever personally, from a personal experience, there's times whenever family may think that the helicopter is not needed, and it is.
Right.
I've personally dealt with it on scene of a patient, and the dad of the patient saying, no, she don't need to fly. Well, thankfully, I was able to get him to understand that she did, because she coded twice in the helicopter on the way to the hospital.
And, and I understand that every case ain't the same. We heard about the ones that,
The bad ones.
yeah. So anyway.
But I mean, any of those cases,
Anything.
y'all have questions on, please, by all means,
Yeah.
write the information down, get with either myself or my boss. We'll look at it and we'll see, okay, if those are teachable moments for our crews, absolutely, we'll teach them. But if it's moments that we can say, hey, look, this is the reason why we did it, then you're able to understand it a little bit better from our side too.
Right.
Just to help out, and like the one that you said yesterday, I don't know the exact details on it. Yesterday was my day off, my counterpart was on. So I would have to actually look into it to find out.
Right.
For one, to me, it sounds like an automatic problem. If we sit there for 50 minutes, that's a problem.
Right.
We shouldn't be waiting for 50 minutes for a bird. I would want to look at it and see, okay, how long did it take them to get there? All the details.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
So it's little, and like I said, I know, it's little things like that that, you know, I hope that in these, our EMS board here, they're the ones with the knowledge of this. I don't know. So we're gonna take their recommendation on things to make our system better, make the service in the whole parish better. And that's all we want.
Absolutely, and we're right there with you. We want to make sure, I mean, we've done everything that, I believe we've done pretty much everything y'all asked of us so far, Mr. Danny.
But anyway,
I understand.
let's continue
We
the efforts.
We regularly in our meetings have discussions with the ambulance service over issues that have been brought to our attention and talk about them in our meetings. They have, since they have been here, we have even gotten to where the Acadian Life Air Rescue Helicopter and the Air Evac from GMR has gotten together, and they have actually come to like a running order for helicopters for our parish, which we never had before. When we started this process, when we started trying to get things in a better place, we were having 2 helicopters flying over a scene in Sabine Parish, but you know that's dangerous, with 2 helicopters trying to land in the same hole, because one person would call this helicopter, one person would call this helicopter. We have solved those issues now as far as like the helicopter transports like you're talking about. We have a lot of discussions about people that go by helicopter and people that don't go by helicopter. And those, right now, those patients are determined by Med Express when they get there with their ambulance. And a lot of their flights are pre-dispatched. In other words, if they get certain criteria, they dispatch the helicopter before the ambulance gets there. And we do have the authority at the fire departments to turn that helicopter around if we see that the patient doesn't need it. A lot of times, if it's questionable or whatever, we let the medic crew, because it's on them anyway, to make those decisions. And then there's a lot of people that don't have the training to be able to turn the helicopter around. But we have had a lot of discussions, a lot about helicopters over the last couple of years. And I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, well, and that's the same concerns and calls that I get.
I get it.
You know.
And I understand because I get those calls also.
Yeah.
And I have conversations with Tyler, the operations manager at Med Express, on many occasions and during our board meetings.
Right.
When we talk about helicopters and different things like that. And like I said, it's an ongoing work of art, is all I can tell you. Because we're trying to work together, because like I said, when you don't have a contract and you don't have any type of benchmarks or any type of anything that you can bite on and anything you can bring up and say, look, you are bound by this. And there's not a whole lot, honestly, there's not a whole lot we can say. And even to the point that in our meeting, our public meeting 6 months ago, the operations manager of Med Express told me, look, we don't have a contract. And that's one of the reasons we're going out for an RFP, because this parish needs to be able to hold people accountable and get the benchmarks that this parish wants for its people to provide the best service possible.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons this process has started, is because of things like you're talking about. So hopefully that's going to be something that helps us.
Well, I thank you, Mr. Danny and Miss Melinda, for y'all's involvement and works in this board. And like I said, all we want is to get the best possible service we can for the people of our parish.
And
that's the bottom line. That's the goal.
And I think that's the goal of everybody involved, is to do the best they can. But depending on which end you're on, which side of the table you're on, the best you can do may be two different things. And that's where we as a board try not to get personally involved as far as the ambulance side, even though we like and are friends with some of the people that are involved in the ambulance. We don't get involved in that stuff because we have to deal with the business of our citizens, and our goal is our citizens. But Mr. Sepulveda is the board member at our fire department, so he has all my contact information. If any of y'all would ever like to call or meet or talk or whatever, I would be glad. Just please get in contact with me, and we can visit however we need to and answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last thing that I have,
Yes,
I
sir.
have a flyer I'll give y'all afterwards. The 19th of next month, we are doing a station dedication for one of our, providers locally who passed away, a couple of months ago. We're gonna be dedicating the station in his name as well as the unit. We'll have food, and the Chamber of Commerce will be out there, his family will be there personally. We have a stone that's gonna be placed at the station here in Manning. If any of y'all would like to join or come, we would love to have y'all there.
That's gonna be on the 19th,
The 19th, it'll be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
and that's at Central?
The Fisher Road Station,
Okay,
the Manning Station right there by the flower
okay.
shop. I have a flyer, I'll give it to y'all after the.
Okay, all right. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to item 11, Planning Commission. Bobby, Planning Commission, yeah.
Item A is to consider lifting a moratorium on acceptance of parish roads. So back, I believe it was November 20th, you all approved to implement a moratorium on any activity about accepting or discussing any parish road acceptance. We did that because we were in the process of updating and making changes to our subdivision development policy. So we have done that, so figure it's appropriate to lift that moratorium, so we can get back to business.
Okay.
And item B will be that business, so.
Okay.
Does
Yeah,
that
I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Bo,
I'll second.
second by Eric.
Yes.
Okay, item B.
All in favor? Hold on, let me get,
Sorry about that.
all opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, now moving on to item B.
Item B is Pleasure Estate subdivision to begin the 2-year maintenance period for the future consideration of acceptance of those roads. And we're just starting the clock, that's all we're doing.
Has it been approved? I mean, has it been looked at?
This was something that started years ago, and we kind of worked its way and back. So we implemented the moratorium November 20th. I think October 28th, I got an email asking for the clock to start. And then so it's kind of.
You went and looked at it and addressed any concerns they might have?
They've made some initial repairs. You know, we don't know what's gonna happen in 2 years, but we're just starting the clock so we can then, we're just going through our process right now.
Okay.
But you have looked at it.
I'm sorry.
Who's road district?
I have one question. During this 2-year period, do they have to maintain the road? In other words, do they start the clock and then we don't do nothing and wait till 3 months before the 2 years is up and then go repair the road?
No, we
No,
wait
they
2
do.
years.
Well, right now, this is their road.
It's their road for 2 years.
I know, but what kind of maintenance do they have to do? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's
Okay, so at the end of, 3 months before the 2 years up, they go repair the road and then we accept it.
So
Although it may only be good for 6 months because it's gonna fall apart with just some temporary maintenance on it. So I thought this would be that they had to maintain it for 2 years and keep it in condition that we approved of. So maybe I'm mistaken. on
No, they have to keep
what
it-
the ordinance said.
the same way you do on that.
They have to keep it maintained
Well, it's
within,
not in that condition right now, so
The
I
2
don't think
years.
we could start the 2
but
years.
still yet even, and still in the ordinance, correct me if I'm wrong, after the 2-year mark is up, it still has to go through the process of being
It has to
brought
be
in,
approved.
pass inspection.
We ain't got it.
So Mr. Hughes, throughout the 2 years, he can still check and see what was done to the road. I mean, I understand what you're saying. If they don't do nothing,
There's nobody living on this road. None of the lots have been sold. So this road's gonna sit there for 2 years. And I'm telling you, 3 months before the 2 years up, they're gonna go out there and spread some gravel and say we meet all the requirements. I don't think that is our intention, but if it is, then that's fine.
Well, that'd be between you and.
So I don't remember how far, off the top of my head, I don't remember how far back before October 28th, but a while before. We've been back and forth on the subdivision. Pete and I went out there a few times, met with, a few of the parties that are involved in that development. So middle of the year, maybe, middle to towards the end of the year, they made some repairs on that road because there were issues. And, we notified them of that. They made some repairs. And as Barry says, if we were to go out there today, I went out there yesterday. Jim Freeland went with me and a couple of the planning commission group went out there and looked at the road. Just to apprise them of kind of history of it, what's been going on, because we're in a uniform group. And there are still some issues, exactly what he's saying. It's not developed, nobody's built, nobody's done anything, so it's just some land that sits there, and there's some drainage issues. So what we could tell them to do during their 2-year maintenance period, I don't know. I don't feel like we can tell them anything. It's their property, it's their road. I understand fully what Barry's saying, and it's an issue, it's a concern.
But still yet, at the end of the 2 years, when the 2 years expired, you still don't have to accept the road. That's that you can accept it after
That's
2
when
years.
And
so y'all can make-
will allow you all to accept it.
So,
You don't have to accept anything.
right,
if it's
so
not up
at the end of
on,
the
we
2
don't have
years,
to.
even after the 2 years, you don't have to if you feel, if the planning commission feels that the road is not something good to accept in other words.
The jury is able to accept it at that point.
Right.
You're not required.
Or decline it.
Or decline.
Let me ask you this. Why are we even considering it? If there's a possibility that they'll just let the road go for 2 years. Why are we putting give them a 2 years?
That's what you all have approved as our procedures,
To bring it into the system.
to start a 2-year maintenance period.
Well, yeah, but then why are we starting a 2-year maintenance period on a road that
When the road is not up to
is not up to
right
specs,
now.
right?
They're supposed to keep it to standards for 2 years so that when we get it, we know it's gonna be an acceptable road. That's the way I understood it.
But then why are we even considering it?
But
Hold up.
They
People want their road accepted, and it's a substandard road with nobody living on it, and I don't even think we ought to consider it. So I'm a no vote on this, so I don't care how y'all vote.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Why don't you make it
Out there
plain,
with
Barry?
being a builder
Huh?
out
Why don't
there.
you make it plain
I
how you
made it
feel?
Go in a subdivision, the people that buys the property, develops it, they go in there and they build as best way to get in there they can. You know what I'm saying? They've got a lot of money invested. They're not spending a whole lot of money on the road to get in there. They want us to take it over. I mean, I've been out there. I built houses all over that lake. I know what happens. I wasn't in favor of it when Pete was in here and we done that, you know? I wasn't in favor of it then. But it is what it is. Y'all.
Well, it's on the agenda today because we were asked to put it on.
Yes.
Well,
Is anybody here
It's-
with that? With
it's
landowner or anything?
in Barry's district.
So I wouldn't start the clock.
It's in Barry's district, and as I've said here countless times, I'm going to honor that's his district. I'm going to support whatever his decision is. So if he decides that he does not want to do it, I'm going to have to support him on that because that's
I
who he
don't think we start the clock on a substandard road. That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Well, let's vote on it.
Or you can table it.
Just table
You can. If it's not ready for a vote, you can always table
table to begin starting the maintenance period.
it. Just table it.
I'll make a motion, we table beginning this maintenance period. Barry?
Second,
got a motion by Bison, second by Barry to table this. All in favor? All opposed?
But we're tabling it for what?
At which
To let
point in
them
time,
talk
Bobby,
to
they get a hold of you again and tell you that they have upgraded the road and maybe get Barry to go look at it and see that it's upgraded.
Barry
Then-
comes and tells me he's ready
If
for
the
it.
road is
I'm
gonna be
vote yes.
maintained,
Y'all, it's up to y'all to go talk to the people, tell them what they
right?
gotta
If
do.
they're gonna maintain it for 2 years,
The
Maintain it,
commission
meaning
be in contact.
Get it up to the
up to
standards
specs and keep it.
and keep it that way, not just throw a trail through there.
No.
They gotta get it. We start for 2 years.
As a matter of fact, as Bo pointed out, when we have these subdivisions, and they're all over the lake now. But But the developer, he's the one responsible for bringing that road up to spec. But they don't do it, and then they want the jury to come in and take it and fix them a new road.
Right.
That's the
They put it
developer's
on our
responsibility.
And we have there's nobody living on the road, so why are we?
Why
Yeah,
are
why
we
spend money?
considering it?
And there's some developers out there that do them right.
Yeah, they'll go,
Right,
they
yeah.
fix the road before they
Go ahead,
put it.
Mr. Jim, you know what?
Mr. Jim, you got a comment on this item?
Yes, I do. I serve on the planning and zoning commission. And what seems to me is gonna have to happen is we have to, this is in the old ordinance, okay? This was started when before we redid the ordinance. So whatever I haven't looked at the old ordinance, I've looked at the new one. Whatever the old ordinance required for stipulating what a road has to be, what shape it has to be in before we can begin this maintenance period. And before y'all can accept it into the police repair system, they're gonna have to bring that road to those stipulations in that old ordinance, because the new ordinance strictly says, anything begun before this new ordinance was put in place follows the old ordinances. So, whatever the old ordinance says, what that road has to be standardized to, that's what we're gonna have to make them bring it to, okay?
Gotcha.
And again, I haven't looked at the old ordinance because I just haven't even thought to look at the old ordinance, but that's what's gonna have to happen.
If I remember correctly, one of the concerns that we had with that old ordinance like that was that it would require the developers to bring roads up to standards that would be better than most of our roads. I think that's one of the reasons we came up with this, the new ordinance. And it didn't even make sense to have a developer saying, you gotta maintain this road, for 2 years. Now it's better than all the roads in Sabine Parish.
Yes, go ahead.
What if someone moves in on that property and they have kids, they get a PO box, what's gonna happen then if it's even before the 2 years? Somebody living at the end of that road.
The contractor is
School bus is
responsible to keep the road up for him to get to his property.
Yeah.
Still on the contractor that develops.
Okay, after the 2 years, it'd be jury.
Yes.
If the jury accepts it, protect
If it
the
meets the old standards, just like Mr. Freeland said, if it meets our old standards, new standards are much different.
But then at the end of 2 years, possibly the jury.
Why do we have a new
fix it
one,
right?
a new standard?
Anyway.
But it's gotta meet the old
You
standard.
No.
don't have to accept it, you still have to, no, you still don't have to accept it.
It'd be
It's
treated
gotta
as
be
a private
maintained
drive,
by
in
the
other words.
contract, by the developer.
It's gotta meet the standards before the jury can accept
The
it.
old standards for this particular one.
All righty. Moving on to item 12. Is there no other discussions or questions on this item? All right, moving on to item 12, accept the minutes of the previous regular meeting held March 19th, 2025.
I make a motion to accept it.
Motion by Mr. Russell.
Second.
Second by, who was that? Mr.
Mr.
Byrd.
Let's keep going.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, item 13, Mr. Stanley Cook, Deputy Coroner, report on the coroner's office activity during the period of January through March 2025. Mr. Cook.
Yes, sir. Mine's pretty short. We had worked a total of 155 investigations for that period. We had 55 commitments. They still, Mr. Ronnie shaking his head, they're still running strong on our commitments, and we worked 68 deaths.
What was that first
How
number?
many of those are y'all investigating, Stanley, out of the 68 days?
55 what?
We have to get the medical records and look at everything.
Wow. 55.
55 commitments.
All right, and 60.
How many of these 55 was repeat customers?
Now that may be one or
You go
two.
see that, you know it.
All right.
You know it, you see them.
You see them, you're right.
Yeah. You approve.
But everything is running about the normal. The numbers are about the same as we have been. We haven't seen any declines in commitments at all. they're still just about where they were.
We,
And I think last month we had maybe 25 last month. So it's, everything's still about the same. Any questions?
Nah, ain't. It is what it is, you know, I hate to say it that way, but
And on my end of it, I had an unexpected vacation and I didn't get to meet with the finance committee for my closeout of last year to see where we were at. We'll call it sickness, but if you guys wanna put me down for your next finance committee,
Yes,
I'll be
we-
glad to come in. talk
probably
over it.
next week, probably.
I'll sit down.
Yeah, next week when we have a finance, they'll contact you.
Just contact me, we'll run over it,
Okay,
try to close out last year.
Yes.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 14, consider appointment of Mr. Chad Schroth as a board member for the Sabine Parish Planning Commission. During the January 15, 2025 regular police jury meeting, President Sepulveda informed the jury that Mr. Peter Nugent had resigned from the Sabine Parish Planning Commission and an appointment would have to be made to fill the vacancy. The Planning Commission recommends Mr. Chad Strother be appointed to fill the vacancy and to complete the unexpired term of Mr. Nugent.
he wants it.
Is he here?
I don't know if he's here.
He ain't here.
I spoke to him. He was recommended, to discuss this. I spoke to him.
Son.
They're okay with it. He would like to serve. So
You know him, Bo?
I know him well.
He's on, SRA, I believe.
Okay. That's right. You did tell me
they
that.
work for Sabine River Authority.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes through here is, that expertise could be.
That's Dwayne's son.
Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one that's on. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? I need a motion on this.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
I'll
Bo,
second.
second by Eric. All in favor? All opposed? All right. Well, tell Mr. Strother congratulations. All right, item 15 is consider adopting an ordinance prohibiting the sale of kratom and any other of its analog in the parish of Sabine. This is an item that we talked about last month.
Right, we introduced
Oh,
it
yeah,
last month.
it's that one I want y'all to let me handle.
Well, we discussed it, we introduced it, and now's the time to adopt it.
Prohibit the sale.
So you gotta figure it
I'm gonna
out.
let you read it.
I gotta figure it out. Yeah, me and Aaron's had a good talk.
Oh,
about
Bo
this.
can read it, it don't.
You want me to put my ordinance in there?
I know he's chomping at the bits to read it.
Yeah.
So. Now, again, guys, as Mr. President stated, this is something that the Chief of Police, Cheryl Woolley, she's not in attendance today, but she asked that the jury consider. I know the town of Manning had adopted one, so we kind of just took the template of that one to fit the parish. And again, it's time to adopt it. So before adoption, I'll go ahead and read it. If you have any questions.
Sheriff,
Hopefully,
what's
I
your
can
take on
answer
it?
the-
Have you read it?
I like it. No, I haven't read that.
Yeah.
What, it's just basically what the town of Manning adopted.
Is that
Sheriff.
good with y'all? And we're doing it parish wide though.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, we have to read it.
We do?
We
Yes.
still have to read it.
Oh, okay.
All right, ordinance 30 of 2025, an ordinance to prohibit the sale of kratom and or any of its analog in the parish of Sabine. Whereas kratom is an herbal extract that comes from the leaves of an evergreen tree grown in Southeast Asia. Although people who take kratom may believe in its value, researchers who have studied kratom opine that its side effects and safety problems more than offset any potential benefits. And whereas kratom has been reported to cause abnormal brain function when taken with certain prescription medication. The effects of kratom become stronger as the quantity taken increases and is known to cause death. Kratom is not currently regulated in the United States, and federal agencies are taking action to combat false claims about kratom. Studies on the effects of kratom have identified many safety concerns and no clear benefits. And whereas the Sabine Parish Police Jury does hereby declare that the use of kratom is a serious problem affecting the health and welfare of all citizens. The Sabine Parish Police Jury does further declare and determine that all reasonable steps should be taken to prohibit the sale of kratom in Sabine Parish. And whereas the Sabine Parish Police Jury hereby deems it necessary and proper for good government order, and protection of persons and property, and for the preservation of public health, safety, and welfare of the parish and its inhabitants. And whereas the Sabine Parish Police Jury has concluded that to protect the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, the sale or possession of kratom should be incorporated as a misdemeanor crime within the parish of Sabine. Now, therefore, it be ordained by the Sabine Parish Police Jury of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, in regular session convened as follows to wit. Section 1. It shall be illegal for any person, business, or legal entity to sell, distribute, or possess with the intent to sell or distribute or to possess for personal use kratom and or any of its analog in the parish of Sabine. Section 2 provides for the penalties. On a first conviction in violation of the provisions of Section 1, the person shall be fined not more than $250 or imprisoned for not more than 15 days or both. On a second conviction in violation of Section 1, the person shall be fined $500 or imprisoned for not more than 30 days or both. Section 3, if any provision or item of this ordinance or the application thereof is held to be invalid, such invalidity shall not affect other provisions, items, or applications of this ordinance, which can be given effect without the invalid provisions, items, or application, and to this end, the provisions or items of this ordinance are hereby declared severable. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall become effective immediately upon adoption by the police jury, and it shall be published one time in the official journal of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, along with any other minutes of the meeting. And
I don't like it. I don't like it.
What is it? What, help me. I'm sorry, I don't know.
We catch them 3 times, I'm just gonna go get the boat.
Big boy?
We catch them 3 times.
I'm telling y'all, $250. If I'm making this much money, I'll pay your $250.
What is it?
It's just a weed that they get off that tree and then put it in peel form. That's what they showed us.
Who sells it? Is it sold in the
Everybody.
stores?
Are we not the governing body?
We are.
Gas stations and
Oh, is that
everybody
right?
has.
Who tells us who we can't do
The state.
that?
The state.
So Bo, your complaint is that the fine's too low?
I have a problem with y'all harp on me all the time that we're the governing body of this parish, but somebody else is gonna tell us how to govern it.
Read the law.
Who's telling us?
So the maximum.
I guess the state.
Again, the reason that penalty cannot be set at a higher amount is due to revised statute 33-1243, where it sets the maximum penalties for a parish to set on these misdemeanors. Again, that is revised statute 33-1243 that says, except as otherwise provided in this section, the maximum penalty which may be imposed for violation of any parish ordinance shall be a fine of $500 and imprisonment of 30 days in parish jail. Let's see, and then it goes on to say a maximum of 100 hours of community service may be imposed for violation in lieu of that provision. So we are
Stanley, you
setting
make an
by
answer to this.
statute.
What makes this a misdemeanor? Why can't it be something more than that?
Because it's not a narcotic, right?
It's not
It's-
regulated, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's not
The
not
federal government is not
regulated.
regulated. It's a schedule 1, 2, or 3, or 4,
So-
where it can be done.
They don't
It's
recognize
not
it as a-
regulated.
They don't recognize it as a CDS.
So it can't be no more than $250.
Well, 500.
500.
for the second time.
For the second time.
Second time.
Why can't it be 500 first time? Who
Because that's
says
the
that?
law.
I said 250.
I mean, it can be. That's just the way it was written.
No, it can be, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Up to 500.
Make it as high as we can possibly make it.
It says up to 500. They can charge them 500 in the first time.
Who decides that? You?
No, that's
in
just
the
the
This
ordinance.
ordinance.
The ordinance decides that, we can
So
only
we can
enforce
do
what we
that.
got.
That's what I'm saying.
I would, I'm sure that Mr. Bill and Ally have worked with Mr. Don Burkett on this
Yes, sir.
throughout this whole process. I'm not a lawyer, he's our lawyer, so we take his recommendation on these things.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think if we go to these businesses and say, look, you can't sell that anymore, or you're gonna be, this is gonna happen to you. They don't want that. Oh, okay, here, take it.
They don't want y'all sitting there every day, do they?
No, they don't. They want to stay in business, so if they are not allowed to sell it here in the parish, they're not gonna do it. That's my guess. But this year's gonna make them, oh, we ain't gonna do that then.
Especially if there's a threat of losing their business
Yeah.
license.
That makes sense?
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
big-
yeah.
It's bigger to them than it is to me and you, but
You know, your vape stores would probably be a little more adamant about maybe taking the penalty.
Yes.
But you, BJ, your places down in Florine, the places here in town that have another business besides just tobacco products and these kind of chemicals, they don't want it.
And
You
Mr.
know.
Bo, you're exactly right, but when we hit the vape shop here, it would just cost a business.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you know, on our road ordinance, we had it for a while, that the first ticket was $250, that subsequent issues were, the price went up. And the conversation that we had in this room was, why are we doing that? A fine is a fine. So now it's 500 for every offense. And I think that's what they're saying, so.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm thinking. Why?
We
why-
could-
We can change it.
Hurt 'em.
Yeah,
If we don't want it, why are
We
we
could change it, but if we don't get this policy in effect now, that gives us another 30 days where we can stop the sale of it. So let's go ahead and act on this, and if we want to change it, we can, Bo.
Because it was introduced,
Well, I'll make that motion with it's gonna be changed to 500. First offense. Can we do that?
because it was
It was
introduced
just
at,
introduced as
it was
250.
introduced at 250. And I agree with Sheriff. A man's not gonna shut his business down. That, chances are, most of them first go around, they gonna say, okay. And the ones that want to chance it, well, they could pay the 250, but that second time they get them, whenever you start talking about they ain't gonna have the store open, because they gonna be sitting down there in jail. It'll be a whole different ballgame. So I don't think the product is that important to these businesses to shut their whole business down just for this one product.
Yeah, at the third time,
Right.
we can get ATF, some other people down here, and they can take their license, it'll shut their business down.
Right. So it's not worth it to them.
No.
So
Now, this is not a licensed product, though. It doesn't fall under any of their license right now, does it, Darren?
I think it just says not for human consumption. That's how they get by with it.
That's how they get by.
Yeah.
Been doing that on other.
Uh-huh.
But the reason we was introduced strongly because from the corner standpoint, it's a public safety hazard. And just, it's gas is coming out of it now. We're just trying to get ahead of it.
right.
Could we get a motion on that?
Got a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt an ordinance prohibiting the sale of kratom.
Got a motion by Bison, second by Mr. Byrd.
Now, can we make a motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Why can't we amend the agenda right now?
Because if we're going past the amendment, if for some reason this needs to be amended,
Let's go
it needs to
for it.
go back, and then it could be brought to y'all again next month. Because it's already been introduced,
Okay, and put it on the agenda, bring it back next month.
if that's what y'all prefer.
So you want
But he just made a motion to adopt it, so we gotta vote.
Yeah.
We done voted on
Everybody's
it.
out. Everybody's out.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
If it comes back next month, raise it.
So
Well,
what,
if you want
Bo?
to do that, just bring it up. next
Put it
month.
on the agenda
Put
next
it on the
month.
agenda next month.
Put it on the agenda next month.
So do you wanna table this until the next meeting?
No.
No, we've already
With this in
voted.
effect now, we can
It
go
goes
ahead
in-
and prohibit it.
They
Yeah.
go ahead and start.
But if we wait till next month to get the penalty raised, that's another month. They got it in the store selling it to.
That's right.
So you're gonna
14-year-old.
adopt it as is today? and
It
then
is
come back?
adopted. We already voted.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's adopted.
it's adopted today,
I
but,
didn't hear
but,
all yay.
yeah,
We
9-0.
Okay, so we're gonna adopt it today, and then we'll come back with an amendment next month.
Yeah.
To change the
If
first
so.
offense to 500.
Yes.
Okay.
When you go to amend it, be sure, and I think we need to put an amount to, like misdemeanor is 1 ounce or whatever it may be.
Okay.
If you got more than 1 ounce, it goes up.
There you go. See?
Well, we used Don helping us just to write this to get it done, done. We didn't have anything.
Right.
And Stanley and the city and the doc came in here and they were really wanting it done and the chiefs and all that. And I think y'all had somebody with them.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, the sheriff, they fully support.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
All right, it's in place.
Hang on. We got one more thing, y'all.
It's different kinds too. It comes in pills, it comes in powder, and it comes in liquid.
So we add that on.
So if you can do like a certain amount of
Doesn't the
CC,
analog
We've
cover-
already said we do.
Dude, we
We
done.
got the verbiage in there. about
Prohibit the
analog,
sale.
which is-
Yeah, that covers it.
Okay, prohibit the sale covers all of it.
Yeah.
I think that covers.
That covers, yeah, that should cover everything,
It
the
does.
sale period. All righty. All right, 16. Item 16, consider adopting an ordinance amending and revising the Parish of Sabine are 0.25% and 1% sales tax and sales and use tax ordinance effective August the 1st, 2024. Now, Ally, you're gonna have to explain that.
Yes, sir. This is the one that we introduced last month. I think Mr. Stevens had some questions, and Mr. Bill introduced it. It's basically the same ordinance that was adopted back in 2022. It just includes the digital sales now. Again, I can read that.
The digital sales meaning of,
Let's see. Let's get into the body of it. All right. We probably need to go ahead and read it anyway, guys. And then again, if you have any questions, just let me know. Has this been brought up in the Sales Tax Commission at all, Mr. Berry? As far as discussion by Ms. Rivers?
Not really.
Okay. Because this is something that basically the state changed and.
okay, the state changed it. That's why we changed it.
Right, so for our order for our ordinance to match, we had to change some language.
Okay, I remember. I got you.
So what this is, again, we introduced it last month.
He read it last month, didn't
He did not. He introduced it by name. I will be glad to read it after I get a few sips of water. It is lengthy. I will go ahead and state that we have worked closely with Foley and Udell, our bonds attorney down in New Orleans, and they've helped us with the legal language here. So we're pretty confident that it is ready to go.
And we have to read it aloud.
We should.
Okay, just roll it.
All right.
I'm gonna follow.
Okay. You should have. I like mine much better, but you guys should have a copy of it too in your box. If you have any questions. All right. Ordinance 4 of 2025, amend and restate it, sales tax ordinance, an ordinance amending and restating an ordinance adopted on June 15th, 2022, providing for the levy within the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, 1/4 of 1% sales and use tax effective October 1st, 2023, and a 1% sales and use tax effective August 1st, 2024, authorized at a special election held on April 30th, 2022, in accordance with provisions and terms of Chapter 2D of Subtitle 2, Chapter 47 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as it may be amended. Whereas, pursuant to the provisions of Article 7, Section 29 of the Constitution of the State of Louisiana, 1974, as amended, and other constitutional and statutory authority supplemental thereto, and the authority granted at a special election held within the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, on April 30th, 2022. The parish has the authority to levy and collect within the parish 1/4 of 1% sales and use tax and 1% sales and use tax within the parish, the proceeds of which are to be dedicated and used for the purposes set forth in the propositions submitted at said election, which propositions are attached hereto as Exhibit A and made as part of this ordinance as it is fully set forth herein. And whereas, by the ordinance adopted on June 15th, 2022, the police jury of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, acting as the governing authority of the parish, provided for the levy and collection of taxes. And whereas, during the 2024 third extraordinary session, which adjourned on November 22nd, 2024, the Louisiana legislature made changes to the state and local sales and use tax statutes, which have since been signed into law by the governor and have an effect date of January 1st, 2025. And whereas this governing authority desires to amend and restate the prior ordinance to ensure the prior ordinance continues to conform in all respects as originally enacted and to be assessed, collected, paid, and enforced in the same manner as originally intended to be extent allowed by law. And now, therefore, be it resolved, now, therefore, be it ordained by this police jury of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, acting as the governing authority of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana, that Section 1, imposition. Pursuant to the authority of the election, the taxes are hereby levied and authorized to be collected from and after the applicable effective date upon the sale of retail, the use, the consumption, the distribution, the storage for use or consumption, and the lease or rental of tangible personal property, and the lease or rental of tangible personal property or digital products within the parish and upon sales of services in the parish as defined by law. The Uniform Local Sales Tax Code, as enacted by Act 73 of the 2003 regular session of the Louisiana Legislature, as it may be amended, shall apply in the assessment, collection, administration, and enforcement of the taxes. the provisions of which are hereby incorporated by reference. Section 2, definitions. This ordinance adopts by reference each and every one of the definitions set forth in the Louisiana Revised Statute 47:301 as amended and incorporates those definitions to be used herein for purposes of the interpretation, application, and enforcement of the taxes. Section 3, rate of taxes. A, the 1/4% tax authorized herein and effective from after the applicable effective date shall be levied and imposed as follows. 1, at the rate of 1/4% of the sales price of each item or article of tangible property which sold at retail in the parish, the 1/4% tax to be computed on total sales price for the purpose of remitting the amount of the 1/4% tax due to the parish and to include each and every retail sale. 2, at the rate of 1/4% of the cost price of each item or article of tangible personal property when the same is not sold but is used, consumed, distributed, or stored for use or consumption in the parish, provided there shall be no duplication of the 1/4% tax. 3, the rate of the 1/4% of the gross proceeds derived from the lease or rental of tangible personal property, where the lease or rental of such property is an established business or part of an established business, or the same is incidental or germane to the said business. 4, at the rate of 1/4% of the monthly lease or rental price paid by the lessee or rentee, or contracted or agreed to be paid by the lessee or rentee to the owner of the tangible personal property. 5, at the rate of 1/4% of the amounts paid or charged for all enumerated taxable sales of services as defined by law in the parish. 6, at the rate of 1/4% of the sales price of each digital product as the term is used and defined in Louisiana Revised Statute 47:301. When sold in retail, leased, or rented, or licensed in the parish, the 1/4% tax to be computed in the same manner as authorized in the Louisiana Revised Statutes as amended. Section B, the 1% tax authorized herein effective and from after the applicable effective date shall be levied and imposed as follows. 1, at the rate of 1/4% of the sales price of each item or article of tangible personal property when sold at retail in the parish, the 1% tax to be computed on the total sales price for the purpose of remitting the amount of the 1% tax due to the parish and to include each and every retail sale. 3, at the rate of 1% of the cost price of each item or article of tangible personal property when the same is not sold but is used, consumed, distributed, or stored for use or consumption in the parish, provided there are no duplication of the 1% tax. 3, at the rate of 1% of the gross proceeds derived from the lease or rental of tangible personal property, where the lease or rental of such property is an established business or part of an established business, or the same is incidental or germane to the said business. 4, at the rate of 1% of the monthly lease or rental price paid by the lessee or rentee, or contracted or agreed to be paid by the lessee or rentee to the owner of the tangible personal property. 5, at the rate of 1% of the amounts paid or charged for all enumerated taxable sales of services as defined by law in the parish. 6, at the rate of 1% of the sales price of each digital product as that term is used and defined in Louisiana Revised Statute 47:301 when sold at retail, leased, or rented, or licensed in the parish. The 1% tax to be computed in the same manner as authorized in the Louisiana Revised Statute as amended. Section 4, effective date. The 1/4% tax shall be effective on October 1st, 2023, and the 1% tax shall be effective on August 1st, 2024. Section 5, term. The 1/4% tax shall remain in effect for 10 years, October 1st, 2023 through September the 30th, 2033. And the 1% tax shall remain in effect for 10 years, August 1st, 2024 through July 30th, 2034. Section 6, purposes. The proceeds of the taxes after paying reasonable and necessary costs and expenses of collecting and administrating the taxes shall be used for the purposes set forth in the propositions approved by the voters in the election authorizing the taxes, which propositions are set forth in Exhibit A and attached here too. Section 7, vendors' compensation. There shall be no vendors' compensation allocated to the dealer for accounting for or remitting the taxes. Section 8, exclusions and exemptions. The governing authority adopts none of the original exclusions or exemptions allowed by state sales and use tax law, nor does the governing authority adopt any exclusions or exemptions authorized by legislation enacted under Article 7, Section 29D of the Constitution of the State of Louisiana of 1974. Included within the base of the tax is every transaction, whether sales, use, lease, or rental, consumption, storage, or enumerated service, and the digital products with no exclusions or exempting except for those mandated upon every political subdivision by the Constitution or statutes of the State of Louisiana. Section 9, interest on unpaid amount of taxes due. If the amount of taxes due by the dealer is not paid or remitted on or before the 20th day of the month on the 20th day of the month next following the month for which taxes are due, there shall be collected with said taxes interest upon said unpaid or unremitted amount at the maximum allowable rate permitted by Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, and any subsequent amendments that may be made thereto. Interest shall be computed from the first day of the month next following and shall be computed. Guys, I'm getting tongue tied. I do apologize.
You been reading the rest
I've
of
been
it?
ready. If you want, sure.
Yeah, I'll
No.
stand through it. I promise you.
Interest shall be computed from the first day of the month following the month for which taxes are due until it is paid. The interest obligation shall be an obligation to be collected and accounted for in the same manner as if it were as part of the taxes due, and can be enforced in a separate action or in the same action for the collection of the taxes, and shall not be waived or remitted. Section 10, delinquency penalty. In addition, for any interest that may be due for taxes not paid or remitted or on or before the 20th day of the month next following the month for which the taxes are due, there shall also be collected a penalty equivalent to 5% for each 30 days or fraction thereof of delinquency, not to exceed 25% in the aggregate of the taxes due as provided in Louisiana Revised Statute 437-4, and any subsequent amendments that may be made thereto. The penalty or any provision thereof may be waived as set forth in Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, and any subsequent amendments that may be made thereto. Section 11, penalty for false, fraudulent, or grossly incorrect return. In addition to any other penalties authorized herein, there is hereby imposed a penalty as authorized by Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, which shall be 50% in the amount the tax is found to be due. Section 12, negligence penalty. In addition to any other penalties authorized herein, there is hereby imposed a penalty as authorized by Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, which shall be 5% of the unpaid of the taxes found to be due, or $10, whichever is greater. Section 13, penalty for insufficient fund checks. In addition to any other penalties authorized herein, there is hereby imposed a penalty as authorized by Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, which shall be an amount equal to the greater of 1% of the check, or $25. Section 14, attorney fees. The collector is authorized to employ private counsel to assist in the collection of any taxes, penalties, or interest due under this ordinance, or to represent the collector in any proceeding arising from the interpretation, application, or enforcement of this ordinance. If any taxes, penalties, or interest due under this ordinance are referred to an attorney for collection, an additional charge of attorney fees in the amount of 10% of the taxes, penalties, and interest due shall be paid by the dealer tax debtor in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, and any subsequent amendments that may be made thereto. Section 15, penalty for cost incurred. As provided by Louisiana Revised Statute 47337, and under the circumstances set forth therein, a penalty shall be added to the amount of taxes due in an amount as itemized by the collector to compensate for all costs incurred in making an examination of books records, or documents, or any audit thereof, or in the holding of hearings or the to subpoena and compensate of witnesses. Section 16, distraint penalty. The penalty as provided by Louisiana Revised Statute 47-337 in cases where the distraint procedure is used in the collection of the taxes shall be $10. Page. Section 17, limits on interest, penalty, and attorney fees. Should the interest, penalties, or attorney fees herein, or the combined interest, penalties, and attorney fees be declared to be in excess of limits provided the Louisiana Revised Statute or other law, including relevant and controlling jurisprudence and the maximum interest, penalties, and attorney fees allowed by such other laws, Louisiana Revised Statute and or relevant and controlling jurisprudence shall apply to the imposed herein. Section 18, collector. The taxes levied by this ordinance are authorized to be collected by the collector, which term shall mean the Sabine Parish Sales and Use Tax Commission. Section 19, power of collector. The collector is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to carry into effect the provisions of this ordinance, to appoint and hire deputies, assistants, or agents, or provide contractors to assist in the performance of its duties and in pursuance thereof to make and enforce such rules as it may seem necessary. The collector may, in its discretion, waive all or any portion of any fees and penalties set forth herein to the extent allowed by applicable law. Section 20, agreement to collect taxes on vehicles. With regard to the collection of the taxes on any motor vehicle, automobile, truck trailer, semi-trailer, motor bus, home trailer, or any other vehicle subject to the vehicle registration license tax, the governing authority, acting through the president of the governing authority, is authorized to enter into an agreement or agreements on behalf of the parish with the vehicle commissioner, Department of Public Safety and Corrections, for the collection of the taxes on such vehicles as provided by Revised Statute 47-303. Section 21, revenue of taxes. All taxes, revenues, funds, assessment, monies, penalties, fees, or other income which may be collected or come into the possession of the collector under any provision or provisions of this ordinance relating to the taxes shall be promptly deposited by the collector for the account of the parish in the applicable special fund established and maintained for the deposit of such proceeds, which funds may be a separate bank account to be established and maintained with the regular designed fiscal agent of the parish. Provided, however, any amount which is paid under protest or which is subject to litigation may be transferred to a separate account established by the collector with said fiscal agent pending the final determination of the protest or litigation. In compliance with the election authorizing the taxes, after all reasonable and necessary costs and expenses of collecting and administration of the taxes have been paid as provided above, the remaining balance in said special funds shall be available for appropriation and expenditure by the governing authority solely for the purposes defined in the applicable proposition authorizing the levy of taxes. Section 22, severability. In any one or more of the provisions of this ordinance shall for any reason be held to be illegal or invalid. Such illegality or invalidity shall not affect any other provision of this ordinance, but this ordinance shall be construed and enforced as if such illegal or invalid provisions had not been contained herein. Any constitutional or statutory provision enacted after the date of this ordinance, which validates or makes legal any provision of this ordinance, which would not otherwise be valid or legal, shall be deemed to apply to and be incorporated into this ordinance. Section 23, uniform sales tax controlling. If any provision of this ordinance shall be in conflict with the provisions of the Uniform Local Sales Tax Code, the provisions of the Uniform Local Sales Tax Code shall be controlling. Section 24, effective date of ordinance. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect as of January 1st, 2025, being an ordinance affecting the public peace, health, and safety. Section 25, publication and recordation. This ordinance shall be published in one issue of the official journal of the parish as soon as it is reasonably possible. A certified copy of this ordinance shall be recorded in the mortgage records of the parish of Sabine, state of Louisiana. A certified copy of this ordinance shall also be provided to the collector to be maintained as part of its official records in connection with its duties to collect, administer, and enforce the taxes. And I am done.
You done a good job.
Thank you, Miss Alley.
Now, do y'all understand what we're supposed to vote on? I'm glad.
All right, I got a motion by Bo.
That's what I'm talking about. Why do we have to, I don't think that's Robert's rule of order that we go by, that you have to read it. I go to Park
Maybe
Ball
on-
team, and you just simplify that, Al.
On taxes, it may do.
Much than
I
not
don't,
enough.
I
There
don't,
we are.
I don't think that's necessary.
All right, let's vote on it.
We're already doing it. Yes, sir. Like I said, the state changed.
Oh, we
it.
did,
They
State
changed
change.
it.
we changed some wording, right?
Basically, Mr. Barry.
We have to accept it.
It was all in
That's what
place.
I'm getting at.
Right.
Well, I think we have a motion and a second. Could we vote?
Got a motion by Bo. Who's the second
I'll
by?
second.
Second by Bison. All in favor? All opposed?
And I hope I don't have to read another thing.
You might get Alex
Okay,
some
Al,
water.
you got number
I know.
17?
I should have skipped the gym this morning if I knew I was
Telling
doing that
you.
much energy.
Bo gonna take the,
Come on.
Bo gonna do 17.
Now,
He can read fast.
Shoot, yes, I want slow rain.
We can speed read.
what we on 17?
Yes, yes.
All right, on item 17, we want to review and consider adopting the ordinance establishing policies and procedures for monitoring and controlling special events held within the boundaries of Sabine Parish, Louisiana. This is a ordinance. Y'all should have a copy of those Miss Alley has in our package. I'll be honest, myself, I haven't had time to sit down and read this. I briefed it, looked at some of the highlights on it. So
Aaron, have y'all looked at it? No.
I know Miss Alley had worked closely with
Mr. Don.
Mr. Don on this, and they have, tweaked some of the parts of it. So, me personally, I feel it's in our best interest to give us time to read
We
this.
just received it. I kind of reviewed it. I got some questions on what's going on here.
Okay.
If we could table this and give us time to study it and maybe research it.
I think you're right, Barry. And Sheriff, we need to get with y'all because we need to, if nothing else, maybe put a little committee together that they have to come to a committee because y'all need input on these groups.
Yeah, sometimes we don't know.
Yeah.
Because if they come to us and we approve it, then y'all throw it to the wolves. And that's, nothing's been said about that. So I'm agreeing with Barry. We need to table this and do a little more work on tweaking the.
I make a motion, we table it.
Part of the reason is this deal, what was it at the airport? They had to kill him and y'all had 4 deputies and 1,500 people.
And I think it was Red River Parish just had the same issue.
Yeah.
My problem
Yeah.
is, I think we're encompassing a whole bunch of issues that we don't have a problem with. To solve
Exactly.
an issue that we do have a problem with.
That's why I say
And
we
I
need
think
to get the
this-
sheriff
this-
more involved.
This ordinance is way overreaching.
And it rolls right into the town meeting.
Well, we know it's a problem that we've got to work on, but we also need to do it right. And we need everybody in the same loop doing this. You know,
Table it till next month, or Aaron, is that enough time for y'all too? Next month?
We don't have to bring it back up until it's.
You have some people charging them this much money. They don't care who comes. They don't care if
Uh-uh.
they're driving 4 wheelers on your property. They don't care about that. It's all about the money. And regular fair rides, we never hear people. I like fair rides, but it's the ones that come with the drinking and the marijuana and the ripping up and down the road. We're kind of like, well, leave them alone. They want a trail ride. But are you really? You're just using that to tear the roads up and throw garbage out. That's the issue. And, this is a lot. And these people are gonna have to come to you to get a permit, but also they have to have 1 to 20, every 20 people as security. They can't afford that. So it's gonna shut them down. One person, security person for every 20 people. If there's 2,000 people there, figure that out, and charge $50 an hour. You see what I mean? But all we want is just, hey, stop littering, stop tearing the ditches up, stop shooting at each other. So it's just something to try to deter that, but it probably won't. It's gonna make it hard on everybody. That makes sense?
Well, it's enforcement.
Regular trail ride.
Enforcement.
I agree with you.
We can't handle 2,000 people. We just can't.
The particular one that
what is
happened
it-
out by the airport, they got permission from
It was
who out there to
private
use it, or it was
property.
private
Private
property? I wasn't sure where it was held.
Yeah, it starts on private property
Yes.
and then it rolls out.
Yes.
That's the bad thing.
Sheriff, you'll see this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I understand there's supposed to be some,
Good Friday.
you know,
Yeah.
and probably it's more than one. I
Always
don't know
is.
trail ride.
It's always seemed like a bad apple for the whole thing for everybody.
That's it.
Usually not even from this parish.
Right.
About it.
Well, you get people coming in from everywhere for those trail rides.
Well, and this deal that happened at Campy, 3 weeks ago or whatever, same scenario. And Actus is jumping up and down. I think they might have just enacted an ordinance. I don't know if they've got one or not.
They just passed one, maybe.
Yeah, it didn't take them about 3 weeks to pass one, but
You have to.
of course, they had 4 people shot.
I believe our last 3 shootings has come from trail rides.
That's not a good sign, is it?
No, used to, I mean, Good Friday ride was a good deal,
Yeah.
but now it's turned into who's gonna come home alive.
Is there a legal problem with us just concerning trail rides and not including every
It's all of
event
it.
that has to, why does it have to be all of it? I'm
Hmm.
asking
You
you that
discriminate, you just can't pinpoint
Legally.
things, and that's the problem people's talking about.
Yeah, you can't segregate one
They
thing,
say
just trail rides or
trail
just
rides
this
is
question.
or
The
not
only
a
one
trail
causing the
ride.
problem.
Indeed.
But
That's a lawsuit.
It's
Yeah.
not trespass, I mean, it's the same thing.
I mean, as far as law enforcement, if you think about it, for it to be safe, you'd have to have metal detectors. You'd have to have officers there patting them down as they go in. You can't leave like they do bars. And we can't do that.
Well, we just did away with Kratom. Can we do away with trail rides in the parish?
No, you can't
That
do
is-
that.
Well,
You can't do that,
If
but we
it-
just need to adopt an ordinance and put it back in 1800s where everybody has to carry a pistol.
If it
That,
passes, we're looking at for a lawsuit anyway, because they're gonna.
We can eliminate half of them that's doing the troublemakers. They better be a quick draw, is all I can tell
We're gonna get sued.
They have
I
think we
need,
need to go to a vote.
yeah, I need a motion to table this item.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, I had a motion by Bo. Was it Bo and who? Barry?
Barry.
All right. We're gonna, got a motion by Bo and a second by Barry to table this. Do we get a chance to review it and get any of our, anybody got any questions or concerns about this? All in favor? All opposed? All right, motion carries.
Sheriff, if you cannot enforce this, what is the purpose of an ordinance?
How about, we said that last time,
Well,
bro.
what I'm saying is if you do this, you gotta have, they have to hire private security. You got 2,000 people, they have to have one security officer for every 20 people, so it's on them.
But it's for you to
We're
enforce.
gonna go if they shoot, but I'm talking about when they're having their ride, have security there with them.
But who's gonna make sure they have that security? Y'all? No,
No, not us.
It goes on that paper. That's what I'm getting at.
That's what's gonna
And
happen.
here's your permit, and you're gonna have to have this many people, do you have
If
that?
they don't, yes, somebody go after them.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to write down the security company and how many they're having, and how many people they expect.
That's 5
If
million
they
per
don't wanna
100.
do that, that's right.
Then they don't get the permit.
Well,
That's right.
it's a
That's
problem
not
any
paying
way
their
you
money,
look
they're
at
not
it,
gonna do that.
but it's a problem that we've got to address because it's getting to where we can't have any.
Right now, we're just going after the fact. Picking
Yeah.
the holes up and taking people to the hospital. Nobody
That's
likes
it.
Okay, we'll look at it.
All right, moving on to item 19 is,
Thank y'all.
yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Come up with anything.
Yeah, we got to work together a little more for sure.
I got it figured out.
I got it figured out too.
All right, item 19, consider 18. Okay, my Brett, I was about to forget you some, man. Come on.
There so patiently too.
Brett, yours ain't real long, is it?
Item 18 is Mr. Brett Bayard, present landfill airspace projection and provide information on future landfill development. Mr. Brett,
Hi, good morning. Is it still morning?
yes,
I
sir.
don't think.
It's been a long morning. That's all good. All right, so Bill had asked me to come and present a couple things to you guys. Where we stand on our airspace projections, which I'll have this chart I've put in front of y'all. It's the same chart I presented. I mean, the third year straight where we kind of keep track of where we are. And then we'll talk about the future expansion of the landfill. So the way to read this chart is we're starting here with, this is volume of airspace used. you have a current permit capacity of a little over 9 million, which is this guy right here. So as you go up to this point where you have the squares, that's historic. Historically, you've been growing about 4%. So then this bottom line is a projection, like we continue to grow at 4%. Last year may not have kept up, but I think so far this year we're keeping up. The year is actually the year as of, it's a fiscal year, DEQ fiscal year, because we do it on the DEQ fiscal year. So 24 was actually June 30th of 24. 25 is going to be the June. We're kind of projecting. He gave us numbers where we are so far this fiscal year, so we're kind of projecting from there. And then there's another dash line that assumes that starting July 1, you pick up an average of 70,000 more tons per year than you do today. So it's going to what that looks like. The first two X's, that's where we need to be in our new cell that's in construction. So as you know, we're in construction. We're a month and a half, almost 2 months in right now. They're on pace. They have a construction. The contract ends August of next year, but they all believe they're going to be ahead of schedule. I believe they're going to be ahead of schedule, but the contract time is the contract time. So this tells us that if you do not take the additional waste or you do not get additional waste, that 2028.4, that's effectively the end of 28, and the 2027.5, if you get the additional waste, it probably takes about a year off of your remaining cell. We should still be in time, but that gets you a year off of that cell. The next two X's are in the 22-23 period and the 32-33 period and the 2035 period. That is when the new cell gets full and we do not get yet onto the Green Monster, because I know Pete has concerns about getting on the Green Monster. So if you want to stay off the Green Monster, we need to have a new place by 2033, let's say. That's really the early beginning of 2033 calendar year, 2033 calendar year. And then the final dots, that is when the Green Monster is completely full. You have nowhere else to be. You better be somewhere else. And that's getting us into the late 2030s, early 2040s, depending on which one of these options we go to.
So
I ain't gonna be here.
So what year, Brett, will the Green Monster we talk about, it has a few more years to where you can't fool with it. Is it 4 more?
Well, no, it's 4 more years of maintenance.
Okay. After what year is it pretty much dead?
Well, it was built in around 2000. It's a 30-year period. Is a typical landfill space. Now, last I talked to DEQ engineers, they're going to consider it part of your entire landfill. So it's gonna tag on to whenever we close the rest of your landfill. So you may not get that advantage. We may have to keep maintaining.
I got you.
Right now, we have probably 50 leaks that we're fixing on it. As part of the construction going on right now, we have about 60 leaks we're fixing. They finished yesterday. I didn't got the total, but it was a bunch. Maybe not 50, but 20, 30 of them. So yeah, that's where we are as far as getting you what you have today. So as you know, y'all purchased a little over 200 acres of property, surrounding property. 150 is one big tract that is identified as your next landfill or your next expansion of your landfill. So now the idea is to start moving towards permitting that. 'Cause I think I told you guys that could take 5-10 years easily. You have a solid waste permit. The solid waste permit is about this wide of paper. It's about 4 binders worth of paper that it takes. And every 10 years you renew it. In 2017, previous engineering firm applied for it, and you got it 5 years later in 2025. It took 5 years for a renewal when 99% of all of that was unchanged. They just tweaked one little thing, and it still took DEQ 5 years to get your approval. So imagine now if I'm going to have to build a brand new cell, brand new geology, brand new design. I can't imagine taking less than 5 years. I can see it taking more than 5 years. Just DEQ just takes time.
They say existing landfill was minimum 6 years to get a permit.
Yeah, I would say a minimum 6 years at least. So to get a permit, just kind of give you the process. You have your 150 acres. If we're going to try to permit the entire thing, we're gonna need to drill 100 to 150 foot borings on about a 420 foot spacing. That's about 35 to 40 borings. And then the engineers that do that work are going to have to do detailed calculations on soil stability, on slope stability. That process is probably about $250,000 to get you through that process. We're going to have to punch groundwater wells. They're required to have them every 800 feet on your perimeter for every zone. Right now, we have 2 zones. We think we might pick up a third water-bearing zone. Doesn't mean you're drinking water out of it, but there is water. We have to monitor the water. So you're talking 20 up to 30 new monitoring wells. That's probably part of that 200,000. So those are kind of things that have to happen. Then we have to revise the book and design a brand new landfill, new bottoms, new tops, new everything. So that's going to take a couple of years just to get it to DEQ's hands. Then we start the process of DEQ. And so that's why we say 5, 6, 7 to 10 years is going to probably be the time. So the Green Monster, as much as Pete doesn't want to get on the Green Monster, I think he's going to be getting on the Green Monster because in less than 10 years from now, we'll probably be on the Green Monster. So we're going to have to get on. We'll probably have to be on the Green Monster at some point unless something changes very
Even
dramatically.
with the new cell that we're getting
Yeah.
now?
If the rate y'all fill in, the rate y'all getting in new trash, y'all going to fill it. It's the cells. It's 16 acres, but at the end of the day, it's really still it's a narrow point. When you get the Green Monster, if I build against the Green Monster, now you can see I get that much more out of it. And that's why you get
You're
so
talking
much.
about just fill the middle in.
Yeah, you fill the middle to the levees,
Oh, you can have it, Pete.
and then you come up at a slope.
They call Green Monster for a reason.
So yeah, if you cut it, if you slice the landfill we're building for you right now, it's going to be a diamond shape. It's got a look. We got the valley, it's got the levees on each side, and we got to come up. But if I can get on top of the Green Monster, then that valley gets way out here. It gets way bigger. So that's why you get much space.
And
much more
hopefully
space.
by then we'll start on these new permits.
Well, the idea is to start now. And
So
so
we're gonna permit the whole
the
north corner up there, I call it, the northeast corner.
okay, so
It's northeast corner.
So you're gonna just permit the whole thing instead of having to try to permit one piece of it, you're gonna just go
The
ahead
whole
and
east
permit
side.
all. Yeah.
It's
I got
one.
it.
And how many sales will that give us then?
We don't know yet, but it's going to be right now. You're sitting on 104 acres. That's going to get you about 50 to 60 total years. That's 150. So I would guess you're going to get 60, 50, 60, depending on your usage, 50, 60, 70 years out of that guy.
Yeah, right now, we're currently 7 sales.
Yeah, it just depends on how we break it up. The reason it's more you're saying, Pete, is because we have a 100-foot strip on the bottom of your landfill. That's part of it. We added that. So the acreage is totally.
I'll still be here, Ronnie.
So the way it's going to work is you're going to drive in the scale, you can do a whole loop, and you'll come around the south of the current landfill to get into the new landfill.
It'd be basically a one-way trip. When we open it,
You sitting right here?
check scale house, take a right by scrap metal, dump it. I'll build that road out, on the new land we built, and come around Green Monster, you're done, then you'll come out the old way.
Yeah.
So that
It'll
way
probably
you
be
can-
better in the long run,
It will.
you know.
So if going on the Green Monster is a headache, but it'll fill it in between 8 and 9, that'd be still 7, go on Green Monster. Fill in between 8 and 9, and it'd come all the way up, almost to the flare pad, but.
Pretty much, right next to the flare pad.
Yeah, right next to the flare pad.
Mhm.
But it'd be one big top, yeah.
So the process, we've already.
One big monster.
We're working with a geotechnical engineer. It's the same guy who just finished. We just moved 2 water wells for you guys, 2 monitor wells. We just finished that job, and the same one has done other borings for you. They're going to be the ones that we'll get with you guys on doing those borings. Most likely, we're just going to do a few at a time to confirm that we still like the soil because we had never done the detailed analysis. It does like there's a lot of sand, but there should be some clay there as well. Early on, we want to get with DEQ. We're going to sit with DEQ, make sure they know what we're doing, and try to find a way to push this process faster. But we're going to take it one step at a time. Do several of the borings, get some initial look at it. Do the rest of the borings and start setting wells, start doing the groundwater wells, and then go from there. That's how the process would work. So, I don't know if I need action today or what you guys need, Ali, or we're just gonna keep working forward on it.
Just keep working forward.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready to present that information to the jury, if you want to come back next month.
How's the new sale coming?
It's coming. We're having the only big issue, or the only I say big issue. The only thing is that we're trying to find clay. It's hard to find good clay. The land we bought, we have clay on it, but it's not meeting. A lot of it's not meeting permeability. So when you pack it and start to test it, the water has to go very slowly through the clay, and some of it's not passing. We have a lot of tests pending. We should get it.
We just found some a lot better on the northeast, track, the big 150. If you're looking at the sale to be to the far left side, towards the Tompkins Road on that side, we found 6 foot. And the inspector out there, I've never seen that man with dance. He knows dirt. He's been doing it for almost 50 years.
Yeah, so,
And he sent it in and waited for perm test to come back, but he wanted them to see confident that shit liner clay.
Have you got it cleared off where we can start on it?
We're clearing it now, as soon as I get done, I'm gonna strip the tops on stuff and I'll get, Eric wants to make sure the perm test passed, and then he'll come do a flower.
yeah, Eric's my guy. We fly a drone over it, and what we do is we get the topography, contractor digs, and then we pay him the difference. So we know how much y'all need to pay him for moving dirt.
Now,
That's how it works.
don't get me wrong, the North Track, they're pulling clay from there now. It's passing for surface field. But we needed 25,000 yards for liner clay. And that's a very picky clay, it's hard to find. But we believe we found it. But the north side is being excavated right now for building up your levees and slope and stuff like that. It works for surface field. But they won't pass the test for liner clay.
Yeah, luckily for this contract, we had two options. I presented you guys a 1 foot clay or a 3 foot clay liner. Luckily, we went with the 1 foot clay liner. That made, we'd had a hard time finding 3 foot of clay and it'd take it forever. So I think
You're gonna put that composite on top of
Yes,
that?
sir. We have a geosynthetic clay, which is it's a mat with some a different type of clay, man-made type of clay that expands, and then you got the plastic on top of that, and then the sand on top of that. Yes, sir. So it's going. I think we'll be done probably summer next year. We should be done, or maybe spring of next year, to a point where you can start putting trash. Well, probably means that we're going to look at it for a year before Pete's done to start putting trash. I think you should have some time.
Kind of PIs that clay have to have.
Oh man, catch me off guard on that. I'm not
What's it,
sure.
92%?
Well, he's talking about percent percent moisture.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know the PI off the top of my head. I tell you that what's tricky about this clay is that optimal moisture. Like you're doing a road, you want on the dry side. This has to be wet of optimum, like 2% to 8% wet of optimum, which is if you've never built it before, it's unusual for you. You don't realize how wet it needs to be.
So optimum's probably 12, 14.
Something like that, yes, yeah.
Yeah, when they do that liner clay, they water it so much it looks like mud.
Yeah.
It's packed.
It sits up, dries and sits up.
Because clay when it gets dry, it cracks, it contracts. So you want it to be as stiff as possible, as wet as possible in that state. All right.
All right, guys, y'all got any other questions on this item? Thank you for the update, Brett. You good?
Good.
Okay. Moving on to item 19, consider leasing all heavy machinery for the solid waste landfill. Solid Waste Committee met on April 3rd, 2025 and discussed the possibility of leasing all heavy machinery needed at the Sabine Parish landfill as opposed to buying it. Due to the harsh conditions of the landfill, the lifespan of the landfill equipment is about 5 years or less. The committee agreed that leasing all heavy machinery at the landfill would be our most cost-efficient method for ensuring that the equipment stays dependable and reliable.
I'm glad y'all jumped on board on that.
So I think Pete and Mr. Bill are dealt with a lot of different companies and leases, and they're going to pick out one that fits our program.
Well, it saves us because instead of us paying for repairs like that one that's on warranty for 2 years, and after the third year, responsible for it for 1 year, then after that, they 3-year lease, you get a brand new, and it's back on the warranty for 2 more years, and it's premier warranty, so I mean, you don't fix nothing.
That's right.
So 3 years, they replaced the.
Yes, sir. Because you look it up, I mean, it's landfill worse, the harsh environment for land, worse environment for landfill. And this way, we're not. I mean, I don't know if I can leave that one, but we got one machine that's in the shop. We could have done about 2 years. We didn't spend that much repairs on it since we've had it.
Mm-hmm.
And this way, you're only out of pocket for a year, 2 years. You're
Make a
on
motion.
So we had the same conversation with the Acadia landfill. I was at their landfill. Wasn't a picture of me, just discussion. And they were doing 4 or 5 year leases, and the man was like, "Please do 3." Because of the harsh environment, after 3, everything starts falling apart, and you'll find yourself all the repairs and you start adding up on you. So they're going 3 year leases.
Yeah,
I got a motion by Remedios, second by Eric. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You get with Mr. Bill, y'all be on that. All right, item 20 is consider approving purchase of a truck for the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. President Spoto stated that the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness has requested a new pickup truck. The expenditure is included in the 2025 police jury budget that was adopted January the 15th, 2025. The Director of the OHSEP has obtained 3 quotes for a GMC Canyon 4-wheel drive elevation. So
What kind of vehicle you driving
there's
now?
your,
Don't have a vehicle?
there's your 3 quotes. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What kind of vehicle they driving now?
He uses, our director uses his own personal vehicle when he has to go to school. Anything like that, and we pay for his mileage.
So this is that new guy.
This is Mr.
Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
So David's out now, or?
David
still has that truck.
David still has the truck, and David's acting as assistant now until Scott gets all of his training in. Scott's in school now getting training. So once he gets all his training.
So we're gonna have 2 trucks now.
For a short period, Mr. Davis already has a retirement date.
What will they do with his truck?
I talked with Mr. Bill. We're going to keep the truck in the jury and use for whatever. I mean, it's the parish's truck. We can use it in whatever department we need it in. It's from what I understand, it's fairly a decent truck. So we take some of our older trucks that from our older trucks and just keep it in the fleet. Or when the time comes, if the board feels it's best to sell it, we'll sell it. Whatever we decide.
I thought that we were leasing the new trucks.
Not the
The
small
Foreman
trucks,
trucks,
just to mix.
some of the older trucks that we have that are
On cruise.
some of our crews have some older vehicles that the parish owns, correct?
We have some older trucks still that we own. We have some newer trucks that we own.
Right.
And we have a few lease trucks. The jury's still out on whether that lease business is right for us.
So anyway,
I mean, I just got a question on the truck itself. What does he use it for?
Goes to school, goes home.
Why do we need a 4-wheel drive truck?
It's Homeland Security. If we have a bad storm, he probably might need a 4-wheel drive.
Help you out, okay.
And then a lot of time, I say a lot of time, anytime there's a disaster, whether it's fire, hurricanes, whatever, and it happens, he has to be able to get around to,
Okay, I agree with that.
the different terrains or whatever it is. So, from my understanding, so. And Scott does a great job for us. I mean, it's one of these deals, guys, to where if nothing's going on, it's everything's calm. But when it happens, you got to have somebody in charge, because then that's when your FEMA and all your state people start getting involved, and you need someone that they liable to send 50 soldiers up here for a hurricane or something to help out throughout the parish, which we've experienced it over the years. Whenever there was in different neighborhoods, we needed all the help. So, but anyway, it's something that the parish has to have as a OEP officer.
The fire they had last year.
Yeah. Well, in matter of fact, I'll touch on this. I guess it was yesterday morning. Union Springs has been having water issues up there. They got a bad leak. Today's day 5 of those people without water. So I called Scott yesterday. He was in school yesterday. So I had to go through Mr. David Davis. And so with the help of our road department and Mr. Hughes and our road department and a couple volunteers, we were able to get water to those people at Union Springs. And there was probably 375 customers been out water for that. For yesterday was the fourth day, so I got a few volunteers and we handed out about 140 cases of water yesterday. So, on times like that, you've got to have somebody that can get you, within an hour, they were loading up water, getting it up there. So, and the way it looks, they don't know where the leak's at. So, we may be getting water again tomorrow.
So
People got to have water.
when's David's retirement date?
Was it the end of,
I think it's the end of this year.
I want to say
I
it's
don't
the
know
end
the
of this
exact
year.
date, but I think it's.
I talked with Scott on this, and Scott feels that it's in all our interest to have an assistant till he gets all of this schooling done. And I don't, because it's different. The state sets the goalpost for you on these certifications. And he feels, and David feels by the end of this year that Scott will have all what he needs, and that, and then have Mr. David has already set his date for retirement. So.
You gotta have a truck. I'll make a motion. We approve purchasing a truck for the head of the Office of Homeland Security.
Got a motion by Bison, a second by Byrd. All in favor?
Nay,
9, 8.
you didn't ask for nays.
Any nays?
Nay.
So the recommendation is gonna be to go with the lowest bid, which would be Roy's. Okay. All right, moving on to item 21. Discuss the following parish roads: New Hope Road, Middle Creek Road, Pump Station Road, Gohagen Road, and Bay Springs Road. Mr. Bruce Taylor, that's the topic we were talking on earlier. And Mr. Hughes, do you have any discussion on those?
Mr. Bobby gonna fix them up.
So I just put together some numbers. The agenda item lists certain roads. So, and there were some concerns about the work or the lack thereof to those roads. So I went back and I like to deal in facts. So Bruce has a stack of them. I have a stack here. It's a healthy stack. This is a stack of all the work orders from January 24th to a couple days ago. Or maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Anyway, today. So in Ward 4, in 24, our budgeted gravel and rock, we budgeted $500,000 for Ward 4, for gravel and rock. And that's, and in Ward 4, we have 156.5 miles of road. So divide that out, and you've got about $3,100, $3,200 per mile of road for maintenance. If you were just buy that out of. So on Gohagen Road, in that period of time, we had 43 work orders, 610 tons of rock put on that road. It's about $30,500 for rock. That's 6.7 miles. Middle Creek, we had 107 work orders. When I say work orders, it might be, it's a combination of calls that have come in, or it's daily work orders that we have, just the work we've done on our own. So it might be 7 people called in, and 100 times we did on our own, or it might be the other, So that's just a combination. Call them work orders, but it's just actually work activity. Middle Creek, we had 107, and we put 1,559 tons of rock on that road at a cost of about $77,950. Now that's just material cost. It's not labor, equipment, or anything. And that's 4.7 miles. New Hope, 58 work orders, 568 tons of rock, and about 28,400, and that's 7.3 miles of road. Pump Station, 73 work orders, 844 tons of rock, 42,000. 3.3 miles on that road. Bay Springs, we had 16 work orders, 44 tons of rock, $2,200. Mile, 1.2 miles. So the total rock that was spent on those 5 roads was $181,250 out of $500,000. So keep in mind, the roads that we're talking about that haven't been maintained to an acceptable standard, or we've been accused of not maintaining those roads. 36% of the Ward 4 budget was spent on those roads, those 5 roads. That's 23 miles out of 156 miles, right? So that's 15% of the roads got 36% of the money. It just is what it is, you know? I know, Richard McGlory, y'all said that I, discount some things you say. I thought for a while, I've learned different, but I thought that when we see each other enough, that we were able to speak a bit casually. Sometimes, I guess, sometimes something hurts so bad, you make a joke about it. I wish we had more money. I think we all wish we had more money to do better, and to take care of our roads better. But we've got what we've got. And sometimes, all I can say to somebody is, we're doing the very best we can with what we got. I don't think we can do better on these roads than spending, 36% of the ward budget on 5 roads.
How many miles did you tell me? I missed.
23.2.
23.
You all have a copy of that.
I'll just write me some notes here.
Okay. So those 5 roads are 23.2 miles long. And look, I didn't go out and measure the road from end to end. That's at our road log. So at our road log, sometimes.
Who turns in the work orders? You do? You turn them in up here?
No. Now, again, the work orders, when I say work orders, it's a combination of calls that have come in or daily work that we just do on our own.
Like Richard said earlier, he turned in a culvert 8 months ago. Did we fix that or no?
No. Now, Richard, I can't speak for Richard, but Richard, historically, has sent me a lot of text about pictures about things. And a lot of times, Richard sent me a lot of pictures. There are beavers. You mentioned beavers. Let's talk about it all. Man, there's beavers in this parish. I don't have a beaver hunter.
We don't have beaver trappers?
No.
I don't know if anybody's got a solution for beavers. We bought traps. We've set them out. We've busted our hands setting beaver traps. We've had residents that have said, hey, if you give me a couple traps, I'll take care of them. We've done that. We've had people that said, hey, man, if we go set up and shoot them, knock yourself out. We've talked to the game wardens. I don't have a solution for beavers. Beavers are a problem everywhere. You ever had any beaver trouble?
You have people that'll trap them, but they want us to pay them to trap them. They don't want to just sell the furs. And I've had a guy that wanted to do it for us, but we didn't want to pay him.
Yep, you gave me his number and I called him. He said, I think $50 a beaver. Y'all want to do that? We can solve beaver trouble. But, $50. People paid that.
And then sell the time,
We had 6, 7 of them talk about.
Well, we don't have that money parish wide. So, I don't know how to solve beaver troubles. I can think of many roads that we got a problem on. Culverts, you all know what we deal with that, we can't replace every culvert in this parish that needs to be replaced. You made a comment about that we repaired a culvert with a stop sign. We had a culvert, there was a top of it, I guess it was a grader, it was holding. We did go out there and we did go out there and put a piece of metal over it, screw it in place, put rock back on top of it. Better than having a hole in a grader, in a culvert, We do what we can, what we've got. There are road districts in this parish right now that are out of culvert money this year because we don't have that kind of money.
But did the fiber optic people pay you for that cover for any damage over there? Yes, they did.
Allie, has any fiber optic people paid us any money for any culverts in this parish?
Not that I'm aware of,
You told me that
no.
yourself,
Richard, that's not a true statement.
It is too.
You told us a lot of stuff. You told us
They
stuff,
were, I
we
was made that cover.
That's why we're here today.
Cut that shit.
That's why we're here today. We got jobs to do. We don't need to be here today. And like I said, we're not asking for perfect. We just asked you to come look at it. We shouldn't have to tell you.
Bobby, can we ride that road
8 months
after
ago.
the meeting?
I mean,
Yeah,
so
that's
we
the meeting,
asked you for it. And the way you talk to me is my point today, because I should be able to come here and talk to him outside of a meeting. I should be able to talk to any of y'all outside of a meeting.
8 months, you gave a man plenty of time to put a cover in.
But no, I have to
Year and
come
a
here
half,
today.
time to take care of a beaver.
Well, like I said,
But then yet I'm getting a phone call for me to come up here and talk about safety. Why do I care about what he done?
Yeah, and well,
They live in,
you stepped
there's
in
several
the
ways
office
to
saying
get
there
into
would
it
be
now.
no more asphalt laid down.
All their life. You know something?
You come to us.
Zachary
want
Taylor
us to
Road,
come
we
up here
have
and
so
tear
much money
somebody's
to
ass
spend
up.
a year.
And the Zachary Taylor
We
Road.
have so much money to spend a year. What was my budget on asphalt, Bobby? 50?
No, you.
You the one tell us continuously.
We don't have our
stuff
pug mill
about
up.
Bobby and several of them. You tell us continuously stuff.
well, look,
You wanted me to come up, you wanted me to go on a radio station and talk about our police jury. And like I told you, I'm woman enough, if I got a problem with you, I'll come to you.
well, ma'am, I'm sorry. Mr. Hughes and Mr. Taylor here, they'll get out there and see if there's anything they do to
And I
help
hope
you
so,
out.
because that's all we're wanting.
Yeah.
And when I talk to you, I want you to talk to me. If you hold a position, talk to me with respect. You come at me ugly, baby, I'll show you something.
Yes, well, ma'am, I'm sorry again. Like I said, our intention is not to upset anyone. We're here to serve the public.
That's
And
right.
and that's what we
Because
want
y'all
to do.
put him in office.
Yeah, so,
If you let the people of Sabine Parish vote, they wouldn't have it here.
anyway, well, hopefully,
I've talked to you.
I've worked hard. I've got videos, pictures where I have laid down labor on my roads, cleaning out covers. I took time out of my day to go mark these covers for these guys and send it to them,
And try to talk to them nicely.
you know?
well, hopefully they can help y'all out with y'all's problem down there.
Yeah,
That's all we have.
that's all we want. We do not want blacktop.
And I don't want.
We live in a damn
you know,
country.
Alright.
You drive on 2-inch limestone every day, see what that does. My
Yes.
neighbor next door went through 3 tires in the past 2 weeks. My daughter averages a tire a week.
Mm.
And you try air suspension on a Lincoln. Have you done it lately, Mr. Lincoln? You got a Lincoln?
No, I haven't had.
At $4,000 a hit air suspension because the rock is so damn hard.
Well, like I said, maybe they can help y'all out.
I hope so.
Thank you.
I hope so.
Thank
Hope I don't have to come back to this no more.
All right,
Thank y'all.
thank you, thank you. All right, moving on to item, what we on, 2022? Is consider rescinding resolution 97-441 of March 1925 and adopting a resolution establishing the position and setting the rate of pay for full-time mechanic. During the March 19, 2025 regular meeting, the police chief passed a resolution 9741 to authorize road superintendent Mr. Hughes to hire a temporary mechanic to fill master mechanic position during his leave of absence. Since that time, Mr. Hughes has expressed his desire to hire a permanent full-time mechanic instead. He stressed that the need for an additional mechanic due to the increase of equipment by the jury has obtained in the last several years. He stated that the routine maintenance on the parish equipment has increased drastically and that the shop could use an additional mechanic to keep up with the workload.
Gotta set the rate too, huh?
Right.
Yes.
And they're to rescind, like,
So we need to rescind 9741?
yes, because 9741, what it did last month, guys, is it authorized Mr. Hughes to hire that temporary mechanic to fill in while that mechanic was off due to, he's having surgery, I believe. He's gonna be off for an extended period of time. So since that time, a, interested applicant has expressed the desire to fill that position, but again, that workload, we could use them. So, and
And
Mr.
this
Bill and
is-
I have both reviewed it financially. We think that.
Apparently, sure enough mechanic, y'all.
Mhm.
Y'all know him. You know him.
We're not talking names in here today,
Can't talk names.
Mhm.
Okay.
but we just
But
need to rescind that and then
He's a-
establish.
he's certified. He's a real deal.
Okay. I mean, I'm just.
So we need a motion to rescind 9741
Correct.
And approve.
and
create a new
approve.
position.
Can we do that in one motion?
Yes,
Yes, I
So
believe
I'll
that's the way
make
it's
that.
designed.
yes.
With-
I'll make
with-
that motion.
Okay, go ahead.
And establish salary at $20 an hour with effective date today.
Correct.
That's,
Base
that's
rate.
in it?
That's in the resolution,
Okay.
yes. I can read this if you guys want me to.
No, we good.
Good, okay,
We don't need
sure,
that.
I mean, I'm confident.
Promise you.
So we had a motion.
Brett over there going. Brett over there going. No, it'll be all right today.
Got a motion by Eric,
Second or somebody, anybody.
second by Remitas. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
You know, I'm on that nonsense stuff.
All right, item 22A, declare a 1996 Mack RD 690 S dump truck as D45 surplus and approved through govdeals.com.
I'll make that motion to put
Second.
it on Gov Deals.
Got a motion by Bison, second by Bo. All in favor? All opposed?
Get ahead of
I make a motion with authorize payment of approved bills.
K-Wall had
Bo,
called
I'm
that
here.
number
I'm
out
here,
yet.
Bo.
Oh, you're back.
I got a motion by.
Second.
Got a motion by Bo, a second by Mr. Ruffin. All in favor? All opposed? All right.
Get him, William.
Motion we
24.
appropriate sales tax.
Second.
Ruffin, Bo, I guess I need to read appropriation transfer sales tax for April operations, 500,000.
Yeah.
Got a motion by Ruffin, second by Bo. All in favor? All opposed?
You won't realize you got seniority.
All right, committee reports.
That youth, I'm getting him on that quick draw.
You'll be ready for the next time.
Yeah, we covered solid waste committee, didn't we?
Committee reports.
All right, committee reports. Anything in committee that, we didn't have nothing in the road and shop. Courthouse committee, DJ was still working on the windows, got a price quote, and I believe he's scheduling it with, the judge to set a time to have.
Last night, I ain't heard nothing else, so.
Yeah, Brett pretty well covered the solid waste
Got
committee.
solid waste. Planning commission done covered. All right, did y'all have anything from the tax commission board? Any?
No, only that the taxes are holding steady this year. Compared to last year, they're a lot better.
Okay.
Are they still up?
Good.
We can still afford that 500,000.
Them pipelines are rocking.
All right, let's move on to item 26 on operations.
We covered everything.
Well.
Make a motion with.
Oh, no.
Okay.
He got something, see?
We don't have anything else.
No, I just want to take a few minutes, guys. Like I said, I briefed it earlier about our Union Springs water situation out there, but I want to thank Mr. Bobby and road guys. He had to pull some guys off their duties yesterday to go get the water. And like I said, everybody, police jury, all the workers, they jumped in and brought the water to us. I want to thank Mr. Asbell and his group and North Sabine Fire District for going up, getting the place ready for us to deliver the water. And I want to thank Mr. Doug Rasco, Noel Hicks, and Maverick Mitchell for helping us out, toting the water to the people's car. The people were very nice. They were very appreciative of it. I figured it might have been some little aggravation, but no, those people were very appreciative of getting that water. And if the water does, like I said, they don't know where the leak's at.
Okay, well, it's a leak somewhere
It's a leak,
that's
yes.
losing. Because I know I'm in touch with Mr. Malcolm in our water district all the time. And he has offered to help any district that needs some assistance, so.
They brought a group in, they brought some guys in yesterday, I don't remember, I believe some from DeSoto, some might be from Louisiana Rural Water to help them locate the leak. Sunday night, they were sitting there waiting for the tanks to fill up. And so they was gonna ease the water on and start getting a little water back. Well, Monday morning, they got it on, but Monday morning, the tank was back dry. Well, they can't find where the water's going. So they're just searching, and, chances are it's probably going in a creek somewhere and you're not seeing it.
It's going in the creek.
So anyway, as of last night, I had a call late last night that some of the people up there had water. So evidently they got to where they could cut off a certain section and give water to those people.
Then they're out again.
They out again, so. But anyway,
Well, if they reach out and they need some help,
Yeah.
I know, South Louisville.
I feel
About
that,
Any way they can.
yeah, I appreciate that. And I'll relay it on, but I feel that, you know, we may be, Mr. Hughes, I may have to call on you again, because I know our North Sabine Fire guys are tied up with their services now. We had some, you know, deaths in our group, and I hope I can count on you again
Hey,
to,
don't worry, we got a new man starting tomorrow, so
we're good,
we
we're
wanna-
good. But anyway, I want to thank you for that, and thank all the people who helped out on that.
One other thing. What happened in here today? We had this happen about a year or so ago, and it turned into a monster in here, if y'all don't remember. Let's get that eliminated. Whatever it takes.
Well, look, I'll say this,
Get that mess took care
there's
of.
nothing wrong with those roads.
Okay.
Those roads are typical parish roads. They're out in an area where you all know, there's a lot of timber, there's a lot of pipeline activity going on right now. They're timber roads, timber's always hauled up down the road. I'm sorry, it is what it is.
And I
They're not
got
just in
some.
my district, they're in yours too.
We can go down those roads right now. I know a couple of us have been down those roads very recently. There's no need to go riding, and I will.
Well, that's what I asked. I asked that y'all, we go out and look, and if it's a culvert there that needs whatever, let's do what we can.
I went down there looking at some business Monday out close to Mount Carmel. And I turned and come the back roads and come through there because I knew this was coming up. Is it a dirt road? Is it a country gravel road? Yes. Was anything rutted out where you're gonna drag the bottom? No. Was anything beat out bad? No. Did I get out and look at the culverts? No, I didn't. It's a country gravel road.
I got it all.
The only complaint is, there was a complaint about they slipping and sliding in the ditch. And then in the next word, and I did ask Bobby when it was muddy, could we put big rock in there? Because of the logging traffic. And we put big rock.
It's your fault then.
Well, but the guy said this morning, they, not all the way down it, but where that big rock is, they had capped it with 57 stone. What else do you do?
There's nothing you can do out there, Bruce. That's been logging country forever. That's been bad logging country forever. When you say Middle Creek, you just instantly think about a bad
I got
road.
one up there, they just got this cracking 4 wheels on. Now, you talking about one beat out.
I even, before the meeting, asked Ally, the lady said she wanted to talk to her respect. When I get my phone calls, I ain't been in a bar where nobody talks that nasty.
Well, maybe we can solve this here, guys.
It doesn't matter. As a jury, a whole, we want all our roads up to standard. And it don't matter if they building $100,000 house here or somebody left them this land and they're tax exempt. It's still a parish road.
Agree.
And I just really, instead of spending 2 hours trying to find my way back there, is when I told Bobby, let's run back there. And I think we should, so we have it.
Well, good deal.
I make a motion with adjourn.
Got a motion by Ruffin and a second by Bo to adjourn.
Bobby Marmore.
I'm working.
All in favor? All opposed?
Bo opposed.
You give me that black top, they said they